Alrighty, folks, as promised, we are going to have a 2-hour session with the man, myth, the legend, aka Pace Morby from SubTo fame. How you doing, young man?
I'm great, man. Been talking all morning. This will be my 6th hour of talking already on a Sunday morning by 11 o'clock. It's great.
Your work ethic is second to none, really, in any industry, let alone real estate, education, motivation, all of that. Where does that come from? Have you just always had it? It's legendary. I mean, where's that come from?
My parents, I think, and coming from a 12-person family, 12 kids in my family, I'm number 3, changed a lot of diapers, washed a lot of dishes, and just realized it was part of the life that I was going to live. And my parents would wake us up between 4 and 5 o'clock in the morning every morning and have us read the Bible, share verses back and forth, how we're going to implement it. And so community was a big part of what I did when I was growing up, and then working my guts out. Also, like, how was my mom, mother of 12 kids, going to do all the work, right? So mowing the lawn, painting the fascia, fixing the thing. It wasn't a thing that I earned money for. My parents were like, this is your job, bro.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I feel weird when I'm not working. Honestly, I feel guilty when I'm not working. And that's probably a good thing, depending on who you are, and a bad thing, depending on who you are. Somebody's going to go, oh, Pace has psychological issues. Okay, cool. But my mom always had this quote. She said, you start your day by putting your shoes on. Really interesting. I do it. My shoes are by my bed. You start your day by putting your shoes on. And I would always ask, why, Mom, why? And she said, because you never know who's going to ask for your help.
Yeah.
And in our religion, I'm Mormon. So what happens is people call and go, hey, we got to do this with the farm today. Hey, so-and-so is moving down the street. Everybody, all hands on deck. It's just very much community driven. And so sure enough, my whole life, people were calling, I need your help. Hey, will you help me with this? And the more useful you become, the more used you become as well. So I just became useful. And my mom always said, there's 2 quotes at the door when you left our house.
Mm-hmm.
One says, return with honor. So as you walk out the door, there's a quote that says, return with honor. The next one says, be useful. So I just think maybe I was just trained and brainwashed as a child.
Well, there are worse things to be trained and brainwashed on. So that's shout out your mom for that. I guess the one question I had coming into this is, I have watched you evolve, personally over the last 5 to 7 years. And one of the things that I think a lot of people say, but again, you do and you execute on, is you're constantly pushing yourself to get into, I don't want to, bigger and better rooms around different people. Is that a conscious decision, or has just your work ethic, allowed you to kind of just be absorbed into bigger and bigger rooms and around bigger and bigger players?
I think it's now a conscious effort, but that probably just started about 12 months ago. I'd say 5 years ago, I started getting invited to rooms, and I would have an imposter syndrome of like, why do I deserve to be in this room? This is weird. Why did you invite me? Type of thing.
Right.
And I realized it's because I have use in that room, and I have utility, and people want something from me, and I'm okay with that. I never get bothered when somebody wants something from me, because that means that they want to use something that I built up about myself. And that's a compliment to a certain degree. So 5 years ago, I would get invited to things and people would go, hey, will you promote my event? Or, hey, would you do the thing? And I always said yes. And I always help, and always putting in my hand. I'm always at least trying to do what my mom taught me to do, be useful. So when somebody like yourself says, hey, we want to do a Fresno event, will you help us out? Yeah, let's sell this thing out, man. Let's go do the thing. And it's not about me, it's about you. And I'm always trying to edify the host. And when you do that, what happens is other people see that are bigger than you and go, man, this guy is somebody I can trust. Because here's what I'll tell you. This is a good lesson for people in the audience. You'll see people that are coming up in the industry, real estate, finance, whatever. They're coming up in the industry. And what they'll do is they'll attack the people above them. And I remember Grant Cardone on one of his YouTube videos, he says, you can't throw poop upwards. And I'm like, what does he mean by that? He says, if you're throwing poop upwards, all it does is come and land on your face and you look stupid. He's like, you don't see Elon Musk, attacking upward, right? He's providing value. He's doing things to demand attention at the table rather than yell and scream and go, that table's stupid and the people sitting at that table are stupid. Well, that's a guaranteed way to not get sitting at that table. And I watch people do this. They criticize gurus, right? I'll see people that are like trying to come up and trying to build a brand in the real estate industry, and then they criticize all these people. I'm like, ooh, Yeah, I'm blocking you. Are they criticizing me? No. I just know that that's the energy you have. And I go, I don't want to be around you. And I can't trust you in my circle. If you're just going to be your brand is attacking people.
Mm-hmm.
I have no time and energy for that. And so I think you just start aligning with the people that have that positive energy and that positive vibe, and you get invited to rooms that you feel imposter syndrome about for probably a year or two. And then you very quickly get over that. And you just go, oh, man, this is kind of cool. I can text Tony Robbins right now and ask for a connection over here. And I can text Dean Graziosi and get a thing over here. Or I spoke on stage a couple of months ago, and I send the thing to Dean, and I go, hey, Dean, will you give me some pointers? And Dean's like, fix this. I'm like, who could I have asked for that advice from? I would have had to pay somebody $250,000 to even have the right person all that money. And so getting in the right rooms provides fruits. And I go, man, I really like these fruits. I'd like to get in more of these rooms with these people that have actually accomplished something, instead of being in rooms only with people that are just begging me for something. And so it's been conscious, I'd say, the last 12 months.
Yeah. Well, one thing I want to talk about that you mentioned there in passing is blocking. I think there's a lot of negativity in the world. I call them doomers or crash bros. Just people always on that side of the fence. Some people do it clearly just for clicks because they're paying their rent with clicks. But, how conscious is it of yours where you will block people and just keep that, just not even let it in your world? Yeah.
All the time. I actually had a text message from my good friend, Cody Sanchez, about 2 years ago. She texted me. She goes, hey, how do you deal with hate? And I go, Cody, I'm blind to the bullshit. It's actually, it's a line from a rap song. And I said, I'm blind to the bullshit. And she's like, what do you mean? I go, I don't even know it's there. Like, I'm sure people say things about me. I'm sure people criticize me. And here's all I know is that if I build such a good quality brand that, I've never screwed anybody. I've only done good I've provided so much goodwill and change, positive change in the industry. Instead of participating in the industry, I am leading the industry. I know that my people will see that. And the people that decide to attack me, what will happen if I've done a good enough job is people will watch that person attack me and go, oh, that person has no clue who Pace Morby is. And if I'm worried about that, then that means I haven't been working hard enough to provide a positive change in the industry. And so that becomes more of a reflection on myself than it is the person that's attacking me. Because if you want to be big, you're going to be attacked. You want to be McDonald's? Burger King's going to attack you. You want to be Domino's? Pizza Hut's going to talk some shit, right? Like, you want to be anything in this world, even a hamburger, guys, somebody's going to talk shit. So if you want to be a powerful human being creating actual change, then you better expect Pizza Hut to come for you because they feel threatened. And the beautiful thing about real estate, I'm very lucky to be in real estate, and so are you, is that actually is not meant to be a competitive sport. It's actually built to be collaborative. And I'm so lucky to be in this industry because the industry I was in before was construction. And how can one contractor collaborate with another contractor? You're going to steal crews. You're going to steal clients. You're going to steal all sorts. Real estate, man, there's 51 ways to make money on one real estate transaction. 51 ways. There's plenty of room at the table, even for 2, 3, 4 real estate investors on the same deal can make money. So why is it that these names, in fact, I've seen, you sent me a text. I didn't see it, but you sent me a text. You go, hey, so-and-so took a shot at me. I go, good. Good. Right. That means you're doing something, my guy. That means you are actually becoming a threat, which means you are gaining positivity and energy and movement. Would somebody talk evil about you or attack you if you weren't a threat to them? No, it'd be a waste of their time.
Yeah.
So take it as a good sign. You're doing some cool shit.
There you go. No, I appreciate that. You were a big help for me 6-8 weeks ago. Somebody took a shot. You were nice, multiple communication. So I'll always remember you. You helped me out with that. So thank you.
Bro, it ain't gonna be the last time. It won't be the last time. And honestly, I want to have friends like you, Michael, that get shots taken at them. When you create positivity in the world and you go do events and you help people and you've got a different methodology than I do. But at the end of the day, it's kind of like this. You're Catholic. I'm Mormon. I don't know what your religion is. What is your religion?
I don't have one.
Atheist? You don't have one. Okay, cool. You're agnostic. Perfect.
Agnostic.
Yeah. Guess what? We believe the same thing. We believe in helping other people, being faithful men to our wives, building cool things and helping people along the way. That's the foundational element of why I enjoy being around you. So whether your real estate methodology is different than mine or whatever I do, at the end of the day, I want to hang out with people that are faithful to their wife, faithful to their business, faithful to the industry, and helping improve the industry. And so I choose to collaborate with those people. The people that are attacking other people in the industry, I'm like, dude, I don't have time for that.
Yeah.
I did that. I was around people like that in 20s and 30s. You were too. I'm over it.
Yeah. I just think a lot of people, that watch and follow us, we kind of build up a callus. We're kind of blind to it, to steal your world. But folks, when you're coming up, I actually have a saying like, fire your friends. Like if you're coming up and you want to change something in your life, you want to get a 6-pack, or you want to have great relationships, you want to build a real estate portfolio, you got to realize that your 5 friends, they want to hold you back. They don't want to see you change, right? They maybe they're protecting you in their own mind, but sometimes you got to fire your friends and go get new ones. I mean, that's a big thing for me, is if you want to be different, go find, 5 other people.
Yeah. Here's a couple of good quotes here. Okay. So, Matthew 13:53 talks about how a prophet has no honor in his own hometown. Now, I'm not a biblical person, but this hit home so hard for me. It was actually something Grant sent over to me. Okay. Grant's also not a biblical person either, but it was a good quote. A prophet has no honor in his own hometown. What does that mean? That means the people who saw you rise up, and this, you guys will all deal with this. Immigrant families have this the worst, because their families came from nothing, immigrated over here. Now you want to be a big shot real estate investor with 5, 10, 15 rentals. You're a big shot, right? And you've changed, right? And you get this feeling of imposter syndrome and, wait, what am I doing? And I'm getting too big for my britches. The reality is your own hometown, your friends from high school, your friends from college, your existing friends, your friends from your coworkers, all of those people are watching you kill the person they know so that you can make way for the new person that you're trying to become. And so they're watching you kill that person. So of course they're going to react negatively, because they don't understand the process of an entrepreneur. And what I say is, Michael, you're super white like I am. So I'm going to assume that you don't speak another language.
Correct.
Okay. I want everybody that is in here that speaks 1 or 2 languages or whatever, I want you guys to add a new language. So when somebody says, are you bilingual? I want you to say, yes, I am. Yes, I am bilingual. What does that mean? I speak English, but also I speak a completely different language. It's called entrepreneur language. And it doesn't make any sense to the people in my family. It's like if somebody walked up to Michael and started speaking Tagalog to Michael, that person would be so crazy to expect Michael to understand that language. Just like you would be crazy as you're going through your real estate journey, your buying business journey, whatever it is that you're doing, you go to your friends, your family, your existing circle of influence, and you expect them to speak the language of an entrepreneur. You are crazy. You speak a different language. You are bilingual. I actually made a shirt of this that says BUY. Like buying things lingual. I'm bilingual, baby. I buy things. I'm bilingual. And so you are crazy if you think your family and your friends are going to understand you. And I have a really good friend of mine, 8 years in the making, Brent Daniels. And Brent Daniels calls me one day and he goes, you are on my board of directors. I go, what do you mean by that? He says, that's what I now call my 5 closest friends as my board of directors.
I like that.
I'm like, damn, that hits a little bit harder than calling them friends. So he says, you are my board of directors. I'm only allowed to have 5. Yeah. And if you are not growing 20% every single year, if you're not growing 20% every year, you can't stay on my board of directors. You have to apply every year. My gosh, damn, that's an expectation.
I like it.
Homeboy 8 years ago calls me up and he goes, get in my office right now. I'm like, oh, dang, I'm in trouble with my buddy. So I go into his office. Jamil is there. Steve Trang is there. Evo, Jesse, Annie from Batch Leads are there. Like a bunch of heavy hitters are there. And Brent Daniels goes, you're all applying for a board seat today. I want to know exactly how much you make. where you make it, what you're doing. I want to make sure you do the things you say you do on YouTube. Otherwise, I can't hang out with you. I was like, well, good thing I don't have a YouTube channel, bro. But I didn't have a channel at the time. So Brent says, I want to know exactly how much you're making. And more importantly, how much do you take home? Not how much you generate. This guy, bro, I'm not kidding you, goes through a 3-hour meeting about where he makes all his money, where it's coming from. And when I saw how much money he made, I was like, you just gave me the greatest gift of all time, is that you gave me permission to talk about how much money I make around my friends. And Brent Daniels has remained in my top 5 board of directors because that's his expectation for his friends, is that you have to reapply every year based on your growth as a human, your growth as a husband. So like part of his 2-hour dissertation was, where'd you take your wife on a date? Where are you taking your kids on vacation? What are you doing with your kids? You say you love your wife, but do you treat your wife like you love your wife? Bro, this guy just smashed me in the face all day long, and it was so welcomed. And so again, what Michael's saying to you guys is like, when you're firing your friends, a good way to look at that is to go, your 5 closest friends. Here's what I learned from Steve Trang. Steve Trang actually pulled out a mathematical equation. It's proven. This is like scientifically proven. If you take the 5 average people that you spend the most time with and you take inputs from, you add up all their income, divided by 5, that is the maximum allowed amount of money you are allowed. The universe will not allow you to sustain more than that amount of money for over 12 months before it brings you back down. So you might have a spurt of like, wow, I'm making more money than my existing friends, but guess what will happen? Slowly, you will go back down, or you have to grind really hard to get those other 5 people up. And that's an impossible task for most people. So Michael Zuber says, replace your friends, fire your friends. That's exactly what he means.
Absolutely. I think it was Ed Milet that talked about the thermostat. And I think that's exactly what Steve Trang was pointing out, right? You may have a good run, but something will happen where you will just be pulled down. So shout out Ed, Steve, for that formula. I love this board of directors concept. Folks, if you are watching this and you're not taking notes, not taking action, shame on you. I've already taken several notes. One of them I'm going to ask all of my friends is this board of directors idea. I think it is a wonderful idea. I think it's a great idea to look at it yearly. I think everybody that's listening to this should stop and ask themselves, who's on my board of directors? Like, do I even know what's going on? So I love having the conversation. I love getting everybody in the room and saying, hey, you're applying for a board seat. Let's break down the numbers. I think that's a wonderful thing.
It's hard. And I got to give respect to Brent for being the person that had that uncomfortable conversation, but you can't make diamonds without pressure. And
exactly.
I watch all these people. I gave homework to somebody the other day. I was like, hey, you wanted to be a keynote speaker. Let me give you some speaking tips, like how to tell a story, how to convey an idea, those types of things. And I give him the homework. He's like, oh, this is harder than I thought. It's harder than I thought. I was like, bro. And then it goes back to like something. Alex Hormozy was texting me this before he put this on online, and I saw him put online. I was like, dang, that's such a powerful thought process. Here's the thought process. It is, if we were going to make a human race that is so powerful, resilient, unbelievable, strong, motivated, etc., would we put them through hard things, or would we put them through easy things?
Exactly.
We would put them through hard things, and we would make sure that they grow that callus, that growth muscle. So when I see people go, this is hard, I go, hell yeah. The obstacle is the way, my friends. The obstacle is the way. When you fall in love with the process, then you can't lose. I'm not the greatest real estate investor, but I have so much effing fun doing it that I can't stop. This is my hobby. Guys, people are trying to beat me or compete with me because you guys wake up in the morning like, I got to get my KPIs right. I go, I can't wait to get on the phone. I can't wait to see what challenge I interact with. The other day, dude, I do this deal. It's a great deal. So I'm talking to the seller. It's a foreclosure, right? And my expectation of this call, if I'm just following a script, is guys in foreclosure, I'm going to pitch them a cash offer. If the cash offer doesn't work, I'm going to pivot to creative finance. Cool. That's kind of a simple process. Then I realized through the transaction, I go, bro, you don't want to sell this house. This is your forever house, Tim. He goes, yeah, this is my forever house. I want to stay here. I just ran into a bad situation. I lost my job. I'm back on my feet now. I'm making $250,000 a year, but I'm behind. And I need help. And I don't know what to do except sell my house and start all the way over. I go, okay, what's the situation? So check this out. We got visual YouTube, so I'll pop this up. So homeboy is getting foreclosed on at 350,000. That's his existing note. Okay. ARV on the house right now is 650.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. This is interesting. I just learned this literally today. I looked it up today. There's 1.5 million people right now currently in the United States that across the board between 30 days late all the way into like getting foreclosed on tomorrow. That whole entire process is 1.5 million people right now. 87% of those people have some sort of equity, and over 50% of those people have over $100,000 in equities. Think about that. Wow. Over 700,000 people have over $100,000 in equity in their foreclosure. So there's a reason why I'm telling you guys this. Okay. So I go to Tim, guy's name is Tim, and I'm on the phone with him talking about his deal. And I go, all right, Tim, my name is Pace. Let me tell you what I do. I could give you a cash offer, but I think that's going to suck, because what's going to happen is I'm going to offer probably like 425 on this house, or maybe 500 if I was crazy to do a cash offer. Or I could do some sort of seller finance thing. I could take over your mortgage note. I could, pay you the rest of your equity over time. We call that a hybrid. I won't go into that right now. Okay, cool. Or Tim, I got a better structure for you, bro. Check this out. Let's do this. Tim, you owe 350 on the house, right? He goes, yeah. I go, here's what I'll do. I'll buy the house from you for 350. And he's like, wait, I'm missing. I know. Just I'll buy it for.
Let me finish it.
I'll use a DSCR loan. I'll buy the house from you at 350. I'll then lease the property back to you. And you have a 6-month option with me, because you're getting back on your feet. I'll give you 6 months on this deal, and you can buy it back from me for $425,000. And I'll give you 6 months to do the thing. And if you need another 6 months, I'll charge you another $25K. And if you need another 6 months, I'll charge you another $25K. And I'm sitting here structuring this deal. And I'm doing it so fast, so quick. It looks like I do this all day, every day. I go, where did that come from? Where did the structure come from? By the way, Tim's just like, you solved a problem nobody else could solve. And that, my friends, is my heroin. I'm a clean Mormon boy, never drank a beer, never smoked in my life, I'm afraid to take an Advil. But this is my heroin. My heroin is being in the game and playing this game every level I possibly can, so I can pull levers that other people can't even see.
That's the key. They don't even see them.
They don't even see them. And I was doing this call live, by the way. And I was doing this call. I had like 2,500 people watching this live. And people are like, what the freak are you doing? I had to whiteboard this whole entire thing out for like 45 minutes. Here's why I did this. Here's what's going to happen. Here's how the paperwork's done. And I charged Tim a success fee. And people were like, where'd you come up with a success fee? I go, I pulled it out of my ass on the call. I go, Tim, if you pay me a $20,000 success fee, okay, I'll fund this deal. We're saving the guy from foreclosure, giving him the ability to live in the house, stay in the house, rebuild himself, and then buy the house back from me. And I got paid 20 grand up front for doing the deal. If I was a wholesaler, I would have made maybe $20,000, $30,000 assigning this deal. Now the guy's out of his house. So I'm sitting here going, this is the game. The game is exploring every possible thing I can do. So when I'm on the phone with people that are in foreclosure, again, 700,000 people right now in the United States are in some sort of process in foreclosure. They have $100,000 in equity, and they're sitting here going, I don't know what to do. Well, guess what? I'm the guy addicted to the game that knows how to solve those problems. Now, this is not my job. This is not my vocation. This is my hobby.
Right.
You guys, some people are playing Call of Duty. Some people are out there playing golf. Guys, I've been a member of a country club for 14 years. I haven't been in 2 years. I'm so obsessed with this game. I love it so much because I get a helper's high every time I help a seller. And I'm like, how did I make $100,000 on this deal? Well, because I'm in the game a lot, right? And I'm playing it at a different level. And so it's the same thing with influence or anything else that you're doing. You get obsessed with it. You have fun with it. You figure out how to benefit other people along the way, and you can't figure out how to put it down.
No, I love all of that. One of the things that I've always watched from afar, admired from afar, is how quick you are. Like you just showed us once again how you come up with this stuff. How do you obviously look like Superman to pretty much everybody that follows you, right? You are that guy on the highest, altar or shelf or whatever the right word is. But there's a huge gap, right? My fear, and I'm sure you see it, you may not call it fear, is everybody wants to be Pace. There's only one of you, and there will likely only ever be one. If you're half as good, if you're a tenth as good, the thing that I see a lot of newbies struggle with is they put all this time and energy to kind of being you or what they think a version of you is, and they're not moving forward. They're not focused. I think you even did a post on IG probably 3 months ago about your buy box.
Mm-hmm.
I think the buy box is everything for people at the beginning because it's permission to focus and permission to ignore.
Yeah.
I don't think people ignore enough, at least in the beginning.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, the biggest thing that people really need, and like what I do, I have this, where I got that call, by the way, I gotta say this through Simply Easy Accounting. Tell me you've never helped somebody out of foreclosure without telling me you've never helped somebody out of foreclosure by making a comment that's so uneducated. Okay. And I'm not attacking you. I'm just trying to point out to the rest of the audience that will see this comment. He says, saving the guy from foreclosure is borderline taking advantage of a guy that's down. Now, I don't know your name, okay, because you're putting your company name. By the way, I'm going to give you some branding help. Don't brand your company name. Nobody cares what your company name is. Brand your name. People need to know your name, my friend, okay? And I care about you enough to let you know that. It's something I wish I learned a long time ago. If you knew the game, if you were in the game, you would look at the moves of how I help people and realize that guy, Tim, has asked for help from people for 6 months. That's how he's in the situation he's in. And nobody's offered help to a degree that would allow him to keep his house. All the people are saying, I'll help you list your house. I'll help you with a cash offer. I'll help you with this, that, and the other. I'm the only one that's actually keeping him in the home. And I'm the one that's taking a risk of buying the house and keeping him in the home because I care about him that much. Will I make $100,000 on it? Yeah. But so will the fix and flipper that buys it cash on the foreclosure auction will make $200,000. The difference was the fix and flipper was not connected to the problem. Therefore, he can move on with his life without any sort of guilt. He makes $200,000 off preying off the way your mindset works is that you're preying on somebody else's problem. Well, that's everybody that buys something on the auction, my friend. So we might as well just turn auction.com off because I'll be honest, you're all preying on people's bad situations, but because there's this nice little website that's like a soft, comfy blanket between you and the person's problem, you don't feel like it's a problem. Yet auctions and foreclosures and the sheriff sales and all these things happen every day, literally every day. I'm just smart enough to go directly to the source and go, bro, can I really help you? Can I keep you in this home? Can I make sure you and your children have a place to stay and you don't have to rebuild yourself? And by the way, who's helping the guy avoid a foreclosure on his credit? Me or the fix and flipper who's going to make $200,000 on the deal? The challenge is you are not in the game. Get in the game, okay? Guys, you'll hear a lot of people in your life. They will yell at you from the grandstands. They've never been on the court. They've never thrown the football. They've never been smashed in the side of the helmet. They've never been jarred. They've never gotten the concussion. And they will yell at you from the grandstands. In fact, they don't even have a ticket to the game. Yeah, and they're sitting in their living room yelling at the TV, watching you play a game they physically could never. And they forget all the invisible things that you had to do along the way. And going into your question of like, oh yeah, people can't be me. I can tell you what I'm really good at. And there's better real estate investors out there by a long shot. I hang out with them all the time. I'm like, gosh, damn. I've got this guy named Victor Heredia who's working with portfolio buyers that are just all big Wall Street Journal guys. And he's taking down portfolios, making $1 million a month. I'm like, I don't have that skill. It's just, what's the difference between Victor and me? Victor is humble. Okay. What does humble mean? It means be meek, be mild. It's something that people that are religious learn. I learned it too. Keep your mouth shut. Well, guess what? Not only do closed mouths not get fed, but when I close my mouth, my people don't get fed. And if I'm not teaching people how to do the thing, how dare I? And I told Victor, I love Victor. I said, you're being selfish. When you're being humble, he goes, yeah, but I was taught to be humble. I go, by who? He goes, by my church. Okay, so this is what Jesus did, right? All the way growing up in Gethsemane. Jesus went around and spread the gospel, but when he spread the gospel, he went to everybody and goes, shh, don't tell anybody. Don't tell anybody. That's not what being humble is. That's not what being humble is. Being humble is actually taking the time and energy and going, I'm not going to sit on my couch tonight. I'm going to make a YouTube video about how I did that deal so I can do more deals like that. I'm going to sit down and go, I'm going to be vulnerable. I'm going to have people like Simple Easy Accounting attack me who's never ever helped somebody out of foreclosure, and I'll welcome it because that means I'm doing something. And that's humble, to sit down and go, I'm going to take shots. I'm going to take arrows in the back, and I'm going to be okay with it. I'm going to be sacrificed, scrutinized. I'm going to be criticized, and I am okay with it because I understand the game. The grandstanders will never win the game, my friends. Get in the game.
Yeah. So I want to go back in because I love how you are helping people every single day, every hour of your life, it seems like. But how do we help those people that just instinctively say or think they want to be PACE? And again, it's borderline disrespectful, frankly, because you've been doing this for years, if not decades, and they've been doing it for 7 seconds.
I think the challenge is if people went through my Instagram for 12 years and they saw my journey, it's there. People are lazy. They don't see my journey. They don't see my first Instagram post that I made. I've never deleted a post. Go back to my first YouTube video. I looked like an idiot. I still look like an idiot. They just are, people are now, their attention span is this. And so even though I have 3,100 videos on YouTube, people don't watch them all. They watch whatever I put out yesterday. So what's happening is it's like watching somebody who's written 35 books and only reading their most recent book. You forgot the part where I said, hey guys, start here.
Right.
Now in my community, I've got this shared on my YouTube channel. I never promote my community in a way of like join my community. I never do that. But when you join my community, here's what I do. I have 26 different pathways, and I have a dedicated member success advisor that when you join my community, they get to know your personality. Go, this is the pathway we need to take. We're going to go do 1 rental.
I like it.
You got 90 days to buy a deal. What we're going to do is you're going to do 5 rentals in the next 4 years. We're going to do 8 rentals in the next. We dedicate the time to create 26 different pathways. I tell people in one of the first videos you watch in my community is you don't want to be me. I'm here to show you what's possible. I'm here to show you what is capable. When you run into a weird scenario, there is a solution to it. But here's the other thing. I tell the majority of my audience, do not quit your job. Your job is a superpower.
Correct.
I am built differently. So like I have a girl named Yatung. She makes $250,000 a year, works 2 days a week as a software engineer. She goes, so Pace, I'm stuck here, and there. I go, Yatung, you skipped the videos, didn't you? She goes, yes, I did. I go back and watch the video. She goes back and watch the video. She goes, you're so right. I should keep my job and I should just make a goal to buy 1 rental every 6 months. And what's cool is there's people that are even more meek than that. And they go, I don't want to call, negotiate, do that stuff. So they just buy deals from people inside my community. Go, I'm going to buy 1 rental a year for the next 10 years. And I will be wealthier than 99.9% of people on the planet. Perfect. That's the game.
Love that. Love that.
But here's the bigger challenge, and you struggle with this too. The bigger challenge is that nobody gives a shit about certain things on YouTube. And so guys, I am a YouTuber among other things. I'm also a father. I'm also a son. I'm also a human being. I'm also different personality than what you see all the time. I mean, when you meet me in person, I'm 99% the same, but I don't speak as fast because I understand the YouTube audience member has the attention span of 7.5 minutes. So I also go, okay, well, if I want to be successful on YouTube, I can't make videos all day long about the same thing all day long. I have to try and get attention. That's what you're trying to do. And so if people go on YouTube and they judge me by YouTube, I invite people to spend a day with me every Thursday. Come spend a day with me. Every Thursday, I dedicate a day of my life to let 15 people come spend the day with me and see exactly what my life looks like. And they walk away going, this is nothing like I thought on YouTube, right? So it is interesting. Yes, this simply easy accounting, and I hate to give attention to these people, but I'm going to teach you guys something also, because I'll get some people in my audience to go, why are you giving simply easy accounting attention? I'll tell you why. Because human beings are tribal. And what does that mean? That means the YouTube audience will watch this more frequently if I give him attention because it's divisive. Sadly, I know how to play the YouTube game. So I'm playing the YouTube game right now, not being if somebody on the side of the road yelled at me and go, "You're taking advantage of people in foreclosure," I would just drive on by because I knew they're a loser. But since I'm on YouTube, he's making my life easy by teeing me up with a divisive thing and saying things to keep you guys watching. He's doing me a favor and he doesn't even realize it because he doesn't play the game. He's an accounting. He's a bookkeeper that watches other people make money. See how divisive that can be? See how I can attack him in a way? And then people, oh, dang, guys, it's a game. It's a marketing game. Here's the reality. The guy's an amazing guy, I'm sure. He's probably an amazing friend to a lot of people. He's frustrated with me somehow, some way. It's always a white guy that doesn't like me. Always. Why? Because I am a reminder to a lot of people of what they gave up on or what they have not achieved yet. And so what they do is instead of looking internally and going, wow, that's an amazing pot of gold at the rainbow. That's a possibility. Wow, what an amazing person that wants to, show me an example. Instead, they take it as an offense. And so they attack it. They attack it. You're really attacking me for saving people from foreclosure? That's what you're attacking me from? That's the best you could come up with, is attacking me for saving people from foreclosure. He says, his thing is, I don't know how people can't feel bad about saving people from foreclosure. Probably because you're one of those people. You play a different game. I'm playing Super Mario Brothers. You're playing Mario Brothers 1. Similar game, not the same thing. The game you're probably playing is going on the MLS and you're working with agents. And you have the luxury of not having a freaking clue of what's going on with that seller because the agent doesn't have a clue what's going on with that seller. The agent put a stick in the yard. They had a price. You looked at it and go, man, I could put 30% down on this thing and go get a bank loan. And that's called investing. Cool. That's Super Mario Brothers 1. I'm just playing a different game. I go, you know what? I could probably get a better deal and I could probably save the commissions that are coming out of that foreclosure seller's pocket. And I could save all these other things and fees. And I could give the seller more money, but I have to be the one that gets in there and negotiates and help them understand that. And I have to be vulnerable to have somebody attack me for doing so who plays a different game. Yeah. So I can tell you, you're not direct to seller. You've never spoken to a direct, your quality of questions will tell me the quality of your problems. The biggest problem you're dealing with is MLS is not a great place to find deals all the time. It's a great place to find deals, but not all the time. So you're sitting here going, you're an on-market guy. Cool. I love it. On-market works. It absolutely works. It's a gangster method that will work for forever. Don't attack me because I go off market.
Yeah, love it. Here's a question from the room I wanted to put on screen because I think this is one I've been thinking about. Pace, you obviously say yes a lot, but is it easy for you to ask for help?
Yes.
Oh, cool.
I hire the people I need to help me. And I pay them double what they could get anywhere else. So here's a good example. If you know anybody on my team, you've ever communicated with anybody on my team, you'll go, these people are world-class.
Yeah, they're killers.
Yep. Saravi, Molly, unbelievable people. So I ask people to come join my team. I ask people to catch my vision and I go, I'll pay you for doing so. And please help me with all these weird things, these weird requests. Molly's somebody that works weekends sometimes. Sometimes she doesn't work for 2 weeks because she goes on vacation. But Molly is somebody that I ask for help all the time, all the time, all the time. Now, here's the question. Zuber, who would you ask for help, bro? You are so resourceful. Who would you even ask for help right now?
Well, I mean, there's everybody in my network I'm willing to ask for help. That's one thing
But like what? Like what are you asking for help?
What would I ask for help from? Oh, that's
Yeah.
a different question versus who.
Like what's a problem you've done or you've ran into that you've recently had to ask for help for?
Well, you spoke of it earlier, right? I had a bad day when I perceived somebody bigger than me was throwing shit down my way. That did not feel good. I wasn't used to that in a big way. I'm used to, little, people in the parking lot talking shit, but for somebody to be in the game and maybe I looked up to throw shit my way, that was new. So I sent you a text, we did that whole string, late in the evening, no less. So I appreciate that. But yeah, I reach out immediately when I need help. That was meaningful.
Yeah, I guess I do too. for example, I'm trying to fix a couple of things in my business. So I'll reach out to people like Ken McElroy. I'll reach out to Brandon Turner, and I'll get on the phone with them for 2 hours about how they're raising capital, and they'll cut my learning curve. A lot of times, honestly, I just feel, Zuber, I know how you are. You've been in the game longer than I have. So you have people that just naturally come to you and ask for help because they see the level of success you've hit. But most of those people don't provide value, right? And it doesn't mean you don't want to help them. That's not what I'm saying. In fact, those people are really fun to help because they have the largest transformation. And so you
Correct.
see the largest, it's so fun.
It's
so
fun.
definitely not attacking them saying we don't want to help them, but they come to you and they go, hey, Michael, if I can ever provide value to you in any way, please let me know. And you go, I don't even know what that would mean. Let me tell you a quick story. I know this is like not a quick story, but I had a brother. My brother hung himself. Bad story. Not going to go into the story. I had a brother that hung himself. He was hanging out with the wrong people. That's a lesson right there, right? Your board of directors, all that kind of stuff. My brother's hanging out with the wrong people, took his own life. We were only a year and a half away or apart from each other. I was 26. He was 24 and a half. So this is not young. This is like, I'm adult, married, have a life. He does too. This is back during 2008. Markets crash. Nobody has money. It's devastation. Nobody has money. My parents don't have money. I don't have money. Nobody has money. We can't afford to pay for my brother's headstone. Okay. My brother, I couldn't pay for my brother's headstone. And everybody comes up to you during a funeral or something. If there's anything I can do to help you, please let me know. It's like, bro, I just had somebody die. Like, do you have a revival machine? Is there any way you could revive this person? Like what can you do to help people? And it's kind of I still do it. I'm not saying I don't do it, but I do it in a different way. Right. And this story I'm going to tell you taught me a different way to ask for help. So, everybody, you're hundreds of people, right? When you have a big family, 12 kids, you have a lot of friends and a lot of people that know who you are, a lot of little roots that go into the community. And my brother had 100 and some odd people at his funeral and no headstone, no nothing, could barely even pay for the backhoe to dig my brother a hole. Like that's how bad it was. And no food at the funeral, no food at the viewing, none of this kind of stuff. Okay. So the situation is we're sitting there. It's just, kind of a dark, gloomy day. And all of a sudden a freaking forklift comes driving into the funeral procession with on the end of the forks is a big chain. And on the end of the chain is a headstone that's custom, beautifully custom. All my brother's names my brothers and sisters' names on the back, my brother's photo on the front of the headstone. And this guy comes in and says, hey, I'm here to deliver the headstone for this thing. And everybody's like, who paid for this? Bro, I never found out who paid for that. Why? Because when somebody needs something, if you're a really good friend, you just provide it to them. You find out what they need. And so what I do, for example, in order to get into some higher level rooms, I go, what do I want? Okay. There's 3-step process. What do I want is number one. If I don't know what I want, then I definitely don't know how to get to number 2, which is who has what I want. And number 3 is what do they want? And once I give them what they want, okay, that's the who. They're going to turn around and help me get what I need. And so what I do is I go, all right, I want to be a better speaker on stage. I want to take 45 minutes and I want to give people all the things I'm excited about. And that's the hardest part about being a speaker is that you go, I've got 10 years of experience and all these things that people need to know. And oh my gosh, I'm so excited to tell them, but you have to try to condense it into 45 minutes, which is so hard. You know how hard this is, right? You run events. Like who's the best? Who's somebody I admire? Tony Robbins, Dean Graziosi. Anybody else? Les Brown. Amazing speakers. Jim Rohn, he's dead. Okay. A lot of people that I look up to, they've passed away, right? And so I go, who's alive that I look up to? Dean Graziosi. Why? Because Dean was a big real estate guy for a long time before he moved into the mindset world. And I'm like, all right, I know what I want. I want to become a better, more precise speaker so I can evoke more people into action. Who's somebody I admire that has what I want? That's Dean Graziosi. Then I took a step and I go, what does he need? Well, the best way to find out what they need is go spend time watching their videos. And what are you building? And what are you building? And what are you doing? And what are you building? And then finally go, I know exactly what you need. So I started delivering the thing to him that he needed without bringing it up. Didn't bring it up, didn't throw it in his face, just gave him the value, gave him the value, gave him the value to the point where he's like, bro, who the freak are you? And I go, my name's Pace Morby, and you're my hero. And I want to just provide value instead of being the somebody at your funeral or your brother's funeral saying, if there's anything of value I can do for you, please let me know. I want to be the person that noticed you need a headstone and just buy the headstone for you and shut my stupid mouth. And that was one of the greatest lessons I ever learned in my life. If I want to get access to somebody, I find that is a 3-step process. What do I want? Who is the person that has it? And what do they need? And I'm going to go deliver it. It's a very simple process. You do it over and over and over and over. You can open up every single door you possibly can. And people don't get that.
I love that. I love that. Let's go back to the buy box, because again, for me, this is often where the newbies get stuck. They go down 7 different paths instead of 1. In your own words, how important is having a buy box?
It's one of the most important things. I'd say the number one thing before a buy box, the most important thing, which is the hardest part about all this, is knowing thyself. So what did William Shakespeare say? He says, know thyself.
Right.
Give you a good example. I'm speaking at Clever Summit a couple of weeks ago, and I go down to the audience, and I'm really good at identifying people because I talk to thousands and thousands and thousands of people. I see what they wear, what they dress, all the things. And I walk down to this girl, and I give her this like little 5-minute one-on-one during my 6-minute keynote or a 60-minute keynote. And I go, you are not a wholesaler. I don't know. I bet you think that wholesaling is the thing for you. Do not wholesale. And she's like, in the audience, she's like, I need more information. I go, meet me on the hallway. I'm almost done. Meet me on the hallway. So after I speak, the whole freaking, 500 people around me, crazy. And I go to her and I go, you shouldn't be a wholesaler. And here's why. You're probably an attorney, an engineer, or a doctor.
Right.
Based on who you are, how you dress, how you do your hair. She goes, what do you mean? I pulled my hair back today. And I go, exactly. But you wore a really nice dress and some Gucci shoes. Wholesalers aren't wearing Gucci shoes. Okay. Just even if they make a lot of money, they're wearing freaking flip-flops and sweatpants. I'm just telling you right now, for the most part. And I said, you should be probably going into multifamily right out of the gate. And I guarantee you the reason I couldn't go into multifamily right out of the gate is because I didn't have the connections. I didn't know who would raise money. I didn't have the pedigree. I didn't have the college degree. I didn't have the things that you have. You have the cheat code, go into multifamily. Plus, you're going to get bored of single family very quickly. Me, I love single family, and I always will love single family because I love the chase. And she goes, but how do you know this? And I go, what are you? You're an attorney, aren't you? She goes, yeah, I'm an attorney. I go, this is how I knew. You probably were in your hotel room this morning, coming down to the conference, answering emails, catching up and billing clients, and you ran out of time. So you threw your nice clothes on, but you had to pull your hair back because you didn't have the extra 20 minutes to do your hair. Am I right? She goes, holy crap, you were so right. And I go, I talked to enough people. I know that your biggest problem is you think wholesaling and the buy box of wholesaling is the right thing for you. No. What avenue, what asset class? Now, I argue most people should start in single family first, but how to start in single family? Should I do the BRRRR strategy? Should I raise money for somebody else? Should I just buy one rental at a time? Should I fix and flip? Should I do wholesale because I hate my job and I want to quit my job? Well, okay. And I go, I bet you have $500,000 sitting in the bank account or more just because it's a safety mechanism. She goes, I'm a lawyer who bills for hours and I have $500,000 in my account. By the way, this is all recorded. Okay. Marianne says, yes, I remember this conversation. Marianne was there.
Nice.
And she goes, so I should stay away from wholesale. I go, yeah, here's the first question I get about wholesale. How do I get into wholesale? And a number very close in frequency question is, how do I get out of wholesale? Okay. Nobody buying rentals says, how do I get out of buying rentals? So I go, you've already skipped the line. You love your job. Don't quit your job. The people wholesale is for is people who hate their job, didn't go to college. And you're like, I'm making 30 grand a year. I need to go do 2-3 wholesale deals a year and get myself in the game. I'm driving Uber Eats to survive. Go do a couple wholesale deals. So
agreed.
The reason why I think buy boxes are important is that once you pick that avatar of, I'm going to wholesale for 12 months, you're sticking to that thing for at least 12 months before you deviate. Because what happens is people go do wholesale that if you're in my community, we identify who you are very quickly within one day. You know exactly who you are, what your avatar is, how to follow it, et cetera. But that's the beautiful thing about a community is that she comes to me and she goes, so how do I get in? I go, here's what you do. Here's how you start. This is different than 99% of people I would give the advice to. Go find somebody you respect that you want to learn multifamily from. Brandon Turner, Ken McElroy, maybe me. I'm smaller than those guys, so I'm probably not a good fit. Go do a fund of funds with them. She goes, I don't know what a fund of funds is. I go, yeah, but you know what wholesale is because that's what you were told on YouTube. Go do a fund of funds and invest a little bit of money, raise some capital from all your lawyer friends. I go, you're probably part of a firm that has 300 attorneys that are all making $300,000-$400,000 a year. And I guarantee the number one thing you talk about at cocktail hour or at happy hour is that nobody knows where to put their money. She goes, holy crap, how do you know this?
Yeah.
I go, so should you be wholesaling? No, those conversations should be, hey, I'm raising capital for this multifamily fund and I'm a part owner in this deal. Here's the people that are running it. Here's their pedigree. Here's this and this. Provide proof, compound, and you're going to be in multifamily raising capital before no time. Mm-hmm. Somebody else that comes up to me right after goes, I want to do that. I go, you should be in wholesale.
Know thyself. I love that fact that know thyself is
so. But buy box. Go back to your question because I know you want to go down a path. It's paramount. It's paramount to know your buy box, and what will happen is people will deviate. They'll break their rules. Mm-hmm. And they will get shiny object syndrome. It's FOMO, right? Oh my gosh, I saw Pace do an RV park. In fact, it was interesting. I was in Montana. I invited 1,000 people from my community up to Montana. We hung out for like 4 days in Montana. We went and viewed my RV park. And I go, oh, yeah, I bought this thing for $5 million, no money down, 4% interest, 10-year balloon. Here's the story. Even had the seller stop by and say why he sold it. And he's just like, yeah, this was the greatest transaction ever. And I'm like, yeah, for me. And he's like, for me, because you solved my problem, right? And all of a sudden, everybody goes, I want to get into RV parks. I go, no. I'm showing you guys what's possible, but you have, I go, Tom, I just talked to you about your buy box. You know where you're going for the next 18 months, but yeah, but this looks cool. I go, Tom,
come on now. Yeah.
So it is tough because I do a lot. And so I understand the FOMO. So what's the alternative? Just shut my mouth and not show people what I'm capable of? Yeah, I guess so. But I also talk about buy box, and I change my buy box once a year. Why? Like the buy box I changed this year is I'm no longer buying single family houses outside of the state of Arizona. Why? Because the management of those versus the squeeze was amazing at the time. But now that I've elevated and changed as a person I have a different portfolio manager, I have different assets, different resources, different relationships that now make that time I'm spending not as worthy as it was 3 years ago. Welcome to real estate. Okay. And so I go, all right, no more single family outside. Let's start harvesting. So now we're harvesting and selling those single family. We're rolling into different assets. We're 1031ing a lot of our properties outside of the state of Arizona. And so people are like, Paige, you're not buying as much this year. I go, yeah, because I'm spending a lot of time harvesting what I bought 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago and compounding into bigger stuff. Mm-hmm. So my buy box changed.
Yeah.
However, this is tough. There are people that do the burst strategy. They're like, I'm going to do the burst strategy for 20 years. And their buy box kind of stays the same almost all the way through the 20 years. Not entirely, but
let me push on that a little bit. Because one of the things that I have seen, because I've been doing this since 2001, is if you come into this with a single strategy, there will be season where the sun is in your face and it's all glory, but there'll be long stretches where that is one of the worst strategies to have. Burr being in the winter right now, creative financing, SubTo in the sun, buying on the MLS today, ridiculously hard, 10 years ago, ridiculously easy. I get really nervous when people only have one strategy and they don't realize that that is a weakness, right? It's something to be addressed.
Yeah. I think the main thing for a buy box is not necessarily the acquisition model. The buy box is more about how are you holding and maintaining and managing these properties, right?
Yes.
So if I throw up at my portfolio team, so I have a team, I have a portfolio manager. His name is Bo. And Bo used to run a $5 billion fund as an asset manager. And so I think I have somebody way smarter than me doing all of the things. Now, when Bo took over my portfolio 2.5 years ago, Bo goes, hey, I can't handle these different asset classes. Can we hire a traveling asset manager. I go, absolutely. And so we found a girl. Her name is Heidi. Heidi homeschools her kids, and she travels around and lives at our assets 1-2 months at a time. So I'll go buy a 150 or 160 unit deal last summer. She spends 2 months there. She then goes and spends 2 months at my Springfield deal, 256. We're doing a refinance right now. And she'll go live there for the time being, and she'll drive up there or whatever. And so we have her kind of doing those things. So I don't have to deal with it. And neither does Bo. And Bo is on the front end of like, what are we buying next? What are we buying next? What are we buying next? And then also how are we managing existing what we have? And then he looks at the spreadsheet with my family office and goes, all right, what are we harvesting this year? And what are we rolling into?
Right.
Cool. That gets complicated when you have 7 different freaking asset types, right? So
yeah, I would think so.
It's challenging and it requires humans. And when you have humans, guess what you're doing? You're delegating and you're managing. And then on top of it, you have payroll. So guys, this is not for beginners. Most people, I can tell you, 90% of people I know rather just get 10 rentals, 20 rentals and keep their job.
Yeah.
And that's a really great way to do it. However, the reason why I talk about creative finance is I go, okay, cool. Well, if you're looking for 10 rentals or 20 rentals, how about you go get 3% rates with smaller amount of money down, twice as fast, if you can handle it, because that's another thing too. I had a girl in my community bought 24 single family rentals in a year, and I told her not to. I go, that's too fast.
Too fast. Yeah.
You grew way too fast. And it's one of the rules in our community is you grew way too fast. But it was my buy box. It was not your buy box, because your buy box was single family homes, sub-2, under 3% in these 3 states, and only buying 1 per quarter. She's like, I just couldn't say no. There were such great deals. I'm like, oh my gosh. Now she's selling like 12 of them because she can't handle them.
Yeah, of course.
So a buy box is way more than just the acquisition or the management strategy and where you're buying them and the asset type. It's also how frequently you're willing to buy.
Yeah, agreed.
There's a stabilization area. I would say don't even think you're going to take $1 from a property for 24 to 36 months.
Agreed.
Because you'll get a tenant in there. Then they start using the stuff in the house that you just bought 3 months ago. All of a sudden microwave goes bad. Hot water heater goes bad. This happens. You go, dude, I got 2 years of cash flow that got zapped up in like 3 months.
Yep.
So that's the other thing too, is I think people's buy box, it also needs to include, when am I quitting my job and when am I not? I will buy these assets in these states under these conditions for this amount of time, and I will not even contemplate leaving my job until I'm at this point with this much free passive cash flow. That actually is part of the buy box, because they'll go, perfect, I got 10 rentals now and they're bringing in $400 a month. That's $4,000. I only need $3,000 to survive. I'm going to quit my job. Then boom, one bad thing happens. No, dude, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love
so
that.
there you go. The buy box is so important to understand those things. More important, it's not about what to say yes to, it's what to say no to.
Exactly. It's what to avoid, say no to, ignore, whatever. So again, folks, I don't know if you're taking notes. I've got 3 big ones already. Step 1 was, what are you going to be blind to? Block the noise. Number 2, get your board of directors. Shout out Brent Daniels. And number 3, know thyself even before you start thinking of a buy box. So I don't know what
it's hard, because like you and I are different in the regard of how we came up. Not that I'm better or you're better than me.
Just different. The
way we came up is that you came up buying primarily through the market, right?
All on, yeah. I mean, everything was MLS except, onesie twosies. But yeah.
Yeah. MLS. And what's crazy is I've never been on the MLS one time in my life, which is, it's mind blowing. Right. And so here's why. It doesn't mean that you're better or I'm better.
No, just different.
What it means is the first person that was willing to help me was a lady named Bethany, and she was sending out postcards for her business. So she was direct to seller, right? So I learned this game not from a part-time standpoint. So like a couple of the guys that you do a podcast with and you do content with, these guys learned the same way you did, which was get into the game this way. Mm-hmm. I didn't have that knowledge or exposure to the people that were doing it that way. I had the exposure to the person that her name's Bethany, and she says, hey, so here's what I do. I buy postcards. I spend $5,000 to $10,000 a month, and I go and meet the sellers. I negotiate directly with the sellers. I don't work with agents. I don't work with the MLS, and sellers call me, so I don't have to cold call. I'm a solo operation, make $900,000 a year. I get 4 or 5 contracts a month. 2 of them I wholesale. 1 of them I fix and flip, and 1 I buy and hold. I was like, okay. Remember, I have no other outside information besides this. This is 11 years ago, before YouTube real estate was like a really big thing, and Max Maxwell was there, and all these other cool people were there to help. Then when Max Maxwell came around 4 or 5, 6 years after I got into the game, I go, wait, hold on. I don't have to pay money for postcards? Like, that was my journey.
Right.
That was my journey. And so when people like your guys are like, well, you know, Pace is crazy. Guys, I had to be crazy. It was my full-time income. Real estate was my full-time income. That's the difference between me and other people. Is they're like, I'm building a portfolio and I have a job. Well, I'm actually not that I'm not that different than you. I had a full-time job. It was called wholesaling. That was my W-2. And then buying and holding was my part-time. I was doing the same thing. It's just that people look at me in the game. Now, here's the advantage I have. The advantage I have is, while you're at your software engineer job, W-2, you're learning skills, relationships, and resources that compound in software engineer. I'm in my W-2 job called wholesaling, learning skill sets, relationships, and resources that compound in real estate. And so that's why I know so much about real estate, and I know so many pathways, is because it was my full-time job.
Agreed.
But wholesaling is a full-time job. And so I don't think most people should do wholesale. I think probably, and again, it's the only thing Jamil does it full-time because he built something nobody else on the planet has been able to do. Okay. Most people are never going to be a full-time wholesaler beyond 2-3 years. They get burned out. It is so hard. Wholesaling is so hard. I was a guy that did it for 6 years, almost full-time. And when I finally started acquiring a big enough portfolio, I was like,
I'm out.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I can take a breath. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Most wholesalers, guys, I'm telling you, 97% of wholesalers watching on YouTube fail. And the wholesalers that stay in the game for a year or two, after 2 years, they get out and they go, I've known wholesalers that have made $100,000 in a month, and 2 years later, they're saying, I got to get back into the game. Why? Because they got burned out and they went and got a job. Like, wholesaling is not easy. So again, when people look at me like Dion and what's his other name?
Matt. Dion,
okay, Dion and Matt. They've said comments like, oh, Pace thinks people should do this full time. Like, no, that's my exposure. And I teach people that 97% of people shouldn't do this full time. 97% of people don't have my personality and my lunacy of a Grant Cardone either. I'll never be Grant Cardone. Sadly, I'd like to be as strong as him. He's 66 and looks like a 40-year-old man.
Yeah, he's definitely been working out.
But he's a machine. So here's the thing, guys. Know yourself. If you like your job, here's my best advice for you. My best advice for people who have a 9-to-5 job. Stop thinking about it as a 9-to-5 job and think about it as if I was the business owner here, knowing that I'm going to go start another business later in life. What are the lessons I need to learn? What would I do better here at this company? Who are the people that I would have let go? Who are the people I would have poured energy into? Instead of going, I hate this job, I hate this environment. Treat it like it's your own business.
Well, let me offer this, because again, I see the same thing, right? Sometimes who you are attracts your tribe, right? I'm the W-2 guy, full-time job. So I get a lot of that in my world. And the message I try to tell them is, guys, stop looking at your job as a prison. Look at it as a key to your financial future. Just that little mental shift, because again, a W-2 can be a superpower. You get the best rates, you get this, like your lawyer example, right? You get around other people who have money. I was a software sales guy. My first $1 million raise was with 5 friends, right? Again, stop looking at your job like a prison.
Yeah.
It is the key to your future. And if you
it's tough though. If I do a YouTube video, and this is maybe a conversation to have. Sure, if I do a YouTube video and says how to quit your job next week.
Oh, a gazillion views.
Versus how to treat your job like a business.
Well, you already know the answer.
Yeah. And so that's the tough thing. So what happens is the algorithm rewards the gurus to own. And is it their fault? No, they're playing the game.
No, not at all. No, not at all. Not their
They're
fault.
playing the game, but that's the problem is people want that thing. But the reality is you are so freaking right is that the W-2. Now, I would argue, do you ever give advice to people that maybe, hey, if you guys hate your W-2 so much, maybe just switch to a different W-2?
Absolutely. Absolutely. All the time.
Like, why do you stay at a job you hate? Go to a different company. You know how hard it is to find good people?
Dude, I even go one step further. I said, if you hate your job, go to your competitor and make 12 to 15% more.
You know, do you ever follow Clear Value Tax?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
He's so good. He had this video. He's way more traditional than I am, but there's
suit and tie, or at least a shirt and tie. Yeah.
He's so good. And he made this video about the best time to get another job is at the job
when you have a job. Exactly.
And he's like, here's the advice. Go to your competitor and go, hey, I'm looking to reposition. I'm at this company. I'm happy, but I want to bring skills and resources over to your company, but I'd like to make this much money.
Yeah.
And the best thing to do is go, yeah, okay, great. Got a job. And then go back over to your company and go, hey guys, I'd like to stay, but I have an offer at a different place. Why are people not doing that?
I don't know. And it's really funny because, again, I grew up in the sales world, and I would every year I would find out who the number one or usually the number two salesperson at my competitor, and I would purposely go try to poach them. I'd always try to poach number two.
Like try and recruit them for your team?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because they would injure the other place, and I would figure out what's going on, and I would pay up. I paid up 50% sometimes.
Yeah. And this is good. REI Jared, hey, good to see you, brother. He says, my W-2 taught me a ton that translates directly into real estate. IT guy turned IT manager. I managed 25 units with systems I borrowed from my W-2. Here's the thing that I did not learn from a W-2 because I sadly did not have one.
Sadly. Just who you are. Know thyself. Come on, Pace.
Know thyself. I love to work, but I just, so yeah. I had to learn delegation. I have to learn. Right now I have a big company with a lot of employees, and I'm learning leadership like I'd never had to. I never got to work in an environment where good leaders existed. And so I'm having to take mentorships right now on how to lead. I hired a guy named Randy Garn. Randy Garn, one of the most connected people on the planet. Randy is like teaching me how he's on a mission for his church for 3 years. And he texts me almost every morning, do this. Hey, fix this. This is a problem. I'm like, man, I could have learned all this at a W-2. And I didn't. And so now I'm having to learn the stuff that people are in W-2, have the cheat code to be able to go and learn that stuff. So I think people need to wake up and realize most people are better fit to go, if I did what Michael Zuber is talking about, and I treated this like a stepping stone, what do I need to learn this week to convey into my future business?
Just life, just that little, that sometimes that's all it takes is waking up. If you just wake up and it's a good day, it's going to be a good day. But if you wake up and you're miserable because it's Monday or Wednesday or Thursday, it's just taxing, and you just won't have that fight.
I met a guy a couple of weeks ago, and he's come to a couple in-person classes. I've been doing some in-person classes in my office basically for free the last couple of weeks, raising capital and how to do all that stuff. And I'm like, let me do some 10-hour classes, just unleashed, untethered pace, right?
Oh my goodness.
And so people hang out. They feel like 10 hours went by in 10 minutes. It's so fun. We're having a blast. It's in my office. They come see my hundreds of employees and see what it looks like. And they're just like, the whole thing. And this guy comes up to me and goes, hey, I quit being a pharmacist to go full-time in real estate. I'm like, perfect. How's your real estate bit? Like, how many units? He goes, oh, I don't have any.
Ooh.
Who told you that was a good idea?
No.
He goes, I just hate being a pharmacist. I'm like, bro, you make $180,000 a year as a pharmacist? He goes, yeah, but like COVID really ruined it for me and this, that, and the other. And he's complain. And I go, do you know who Eeyore is?
Yeah.
He goes, who's Eeyore? I go, from Winnie the Pooh, the jackass.
Yep.
I actually said the donkey. And then he goes, oh yeah, the donkey. I go, also known as a jackass. When you are complaining every single day about your life, you're just inviting that energy, bro. And I go,
yeah, stop it.
Don't make me pin that tail on you, the Eeyore tail. Pin the tail on the donkey, right? Don't make me put that pin on you that you're Eeyore. You better walk around with that positivity. I would ask this question to yourself. What would have to be true for that W-2 to be a superpower for me to get back? Don't be full-time real estate. It's a gamble if you don't have a W-2. It's gambling. When's that? And I've had big deals. So have you. You've had
Yeah.
big deals that fall apart the day of.
Oh, for sure.
Deals you were waiting on the refinance, deals you were waiting on the thing, the money was going to come, the such and such. Bro, I've never relied on my real estate income because I go, the deal's going to cancel. I have a deal right now, 2720 North Sterling Avenue, Mesa, Arizona. Right now, I bought it SubTo 6 years ago. I bought it with no equity, 3% interest. It made $3,000 a month on an Airbnb. Then Airbnb came along this while, so I don't love Airbnb. And Airbnb is now outlawing Airbnb, or not Airbnb, but the Marriott group is coming and lobbying against Airbnb in a big, big way. So
Yep.
the Airbnb industry, you guys, everybody's excited about it. It's going to be so challenging in the next 5 years because Marriott group is like, we're done playing with you guys. We're going to spend billions of dollars and bury you.
Right.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm feeling the effects of that. I felt it in Atlanta 2 years ago. I felt it in Vegas last year. And now I have no Airbnbs in either one of those areas. And now Phoenix, Arizona is starting to pick pockets and like make it outlawed. Cool. So I go, well, this house is appreciated $385,000, which is also why I don't buy in Iowa and Ohio, is because I like appreciation. Cool. Mm-hmm. So I go to sell the property on the market. I go to identify a 1031 exchange and I go, okay, I'm going to identify this deal. Guess what happens? The freaking buyer on my deal comes along 1 day before their inspection period is over, goes, we want a $50,000 credit because of blah, 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 blah. I go, bro, cancel that shit. Jump off a cliff. No. Then I go to another seller, or I'm sorry, another buyer. Buyer comes in and lowballs me on the deal. I go, no, I'm not going to, I know what this house is worth and I have the patience and the fortitude to wait for it. Guess what happens? My 1031, now I have to go find another one because the timeline doesn't work. Right. Welcome to real estate. If you are sitting here relying on your paycheck and your bills to be paid with real estate, you're going to be disappointed. I say this all the time. It's a way to get wealthy. It's not necessarily a way to pay your bills. In fact, most really intelligent real estate investors will take their cash flow and compound into their next deal, their next deal, their next deal.
20 years.
Yep. Yeah, build the momentum. I don't live on cash flow. I just don't. Yeah, you know, we have a 160 unit apartment building in Tucson. It makes $70,000 a month. I've never taken a paycheck from it. Why? Compound. Well, because I have a $4 million ranch in Montana. I want a $40 million ranch in Montana in 15 years. I want a river. I want Brad Pitt to come in and do a river runs through it part 2 on my property. I want big things. So I'm not taking the cash flow. I'm letting it compound. And so, you know, what Michael Zuber is saying is let that money ride. Right. What I think what people are really fearful of is they're really fearful of time is short. Mm-hmm. I'm fearful my kids are going to grow up fast. I want it now. Well, here's what happens.
Do you really? I don't think that's it.
I think people have lack of patience.
For sure.
And they think that if I just planted the seed of real estate and if I overwater it, it's going to grow faster.
Yeah.
And what they do is they drown it and it kills the seed and they smother it. And so they just don't have the patience. I have the patience. You have the patience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, one of the things that I think is true of both of us is we both knew this was going to be a long game. I don't think either of us live on our cash flow. At least I didn't for almost 20 years. But I also see a lot of folks that try to compare their year 1 to our year 15 or 20. And that is disrespectful. Right. We've seen so much. We've done so much. We've had inflation. We've paid down debt. We've cashed out. We've just done so much. It's, you know, to go out on social media and kind of have that expectation, you're going to get to where I am in, you know, 2 years. That's not how it works.
It's tough because people's attention span is getting shorter. Right. There's all these research studies going on. Like why did we go from long form YouTube videos and TV shows being 45 minutes or an hour? And now the average TV show is 22 minutes. Right. Yep. The average YouTube video is getting shorter. The average, you know, now there's some balance there. Now they're making some like YouTube shorts, 3 minutes and Instagram now 3, you know, whatever. But people's attention span are getting shorter. Their patience level is shorter. If I want a gallon of milk, this is the hardest thing because I'm part old school, part new school, just like you. I go, last night I'm coming home with my daughters. I go, man, we need a gallon of milk because Monday my daughter drinks a freaking gallon of milk a day, it seems like.
Wow.
So I go, we need a gallon of milk. I'll just pop into CVS real quick and go grab a gallon of milk and maybe a thing of gum or something, whatever. I go, no, dude, I'm not going to pull in and park and get out of my truck and pull my kid out of the truck and go inside to CVS and get the gallon of milk. I'm just going to go put it on my app.
DoorDash. Yeah. Yeah.
have GoPuff bring that
Oh,
shit to me,
right.
and GoPuff brings it to me in 7 minutes. Yeah, it cost me $4 more, but what's 15 minutes of my time worth? More than $4 for
Exactly.
sure.
Yeah.
So what's happened is this is the new economy we're in, and people are looking for get rich quick schemes. And
Mhm.
what I try and do is I go, you're not going to get rich quick, but you can get started quick.
Oh, I
And
like
that's
that.
that's been my brand for the last, like, that's literally the first video you watch in SubTo when you join SubTo. The first video you watch is, I said, you will not get rich quick, but you will start quick. And here's the 26 paths. We're going to help you choose that path. And within 1 week, you're going to have more progress in 1 week than you've ever had in your entire life. You're going to get started quick.
I like
And
that.
then in the second video, I teach them, and this might be a different philosophy, but this is what I believe is. I believe that you agree with this philosophy, but the next one is the one that maybe I think you would believe in this, but here's the philosophy.
Okay.
Here's you, and I'm a newbie. Okay.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Everything I want to learn is on the other side of action, right? So all the dollars I want to make is on the other side of action. It's on the other side.
Correct.
Okay. So what happens is every question people ask about real estate, this is the sad part. Every question they ask is like putting a block in front of this wall. Oh, how do I do this? And what's escrow? And what's title? And how do I do this? And this, that, and the other, and da-da-da, and da-da-da. Next thing you know, this freaking wall gets so big that it topples down on top of them and it crumbles them, and they get overwhelmed with all their questions, and it's analysis paralysis all day long. You learn nothing, guys. I'm telling you, software sales, you could learn all the software all day long. It's not until you're out in the field. Same thing with comping a property. You can comp fake properties all day long, but what you should do is create a buy box like Michael Zuber teaches, and go and comp in those zip codes, drive those zip codes, and actually use real life examples as the things to ask your questions about. What I see is people just talk about hypotheticals all day long. And so what I do is I go, all right, here's what we're going to do. You start into one of our communities. We're putting you on a team on day one, and you're going to do one of the most simple actions of all time, set appointments for somebody who's a good closer, and you're going to watch them overcome objections. Within 1 week, they see where leads come from. If they choose the wholesale path, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you choose the wholesale path, we're going to show you where leads come from live, real leads. You're not going to have to do anything with that lead except set the appointment for the closer. And then you're going to watch how the closer navigates and handles those objections. You're going to see the whole entire process in 1 week. Oh my gosh. Now all the questions you have are pertaining to that problem. Why did that lady say that? Why did that happen? Why didn't this happen? When should we follow up? Instead of, hey, Pace, I'm thinking about getting started in real estate. What's the follow-up process look like?
Yeah.
So I tell people, you need to start quick and you'll never get rich quick. Sadly.
Love that. I'm going to, I'll be stealing that, but of course we'll give you credit. That's bullet point number 4 on my notepad, guys. I don't know what you have out there. One of the things that I did learn from you is the importance of accountability groups, right? That's something that you've made very clear to me is paramount, not only in your community, but also for you during your journey. So talk about the importance of accountability groups.
What's your accountability group? You got like Ty Leon. Who would you say?
Yeah,
like
TYLG, Ty and I talk every Thursday. Matt, Dion, and I go Wednesday. And then I have a small business guy, Bo, that I talk to on Wednesday as well. So
What does Bo teach you?
Bo is highlighting franchises and buying existing businesses. Because again, I'm looking for other opportunities. I know this is something you've done, probably inspired by Cody Sanchez, a good friend of yours. But I just think there's I want to plant roots where I bought my, forever home. And part of that, I think, is going to be buying businesses, service businesses, things of that nature. So, but getting small business loans, seller financing.
What kind of business are you looking to buy?
I might try vending first. I go get 10 vending machines. But if I do something in real estate, it might be painting or, ACs, things of that nature. Again, I'm going to be the operator, the guy building the pipeline. I'm obviously not a technician, not doing anything like that.
I love that. Yeah, we bought.
You bought that plant. That plant.
Yeah, we bought the plant guy. We bought the Perfect Clean, a cleaning company.
Yeah.
It's tough. Like I don't talk about a lot of buying businesses. I think buying businesses, I like the vending machine route. I like the laundromat route. I like those types of things for people who are just starting out. But like if I looked at the businesses I own right now,
sure,
and I taught people how to go out and buy those businesses, I go, you're going to file bankruptcy.
Right.
Like I've got here's a good example. So we've got a company called theperfectclean.com. You can look it up. It's super dope. We're about to start franchising, and it's great. We'll make more money on the franchising than we will on the actual individual, obviously, location. The location makes about 40 grand a month net. Pretty dope. Okay.
Not bad. Yeah.
Yeah. I've got a couple of partners. And so we all, make $8,000 to $12,000 a month, depending on, not bad. Cool. I got into the business with no money, kind of nice, using creative finance, a good feeling. Here's what happens. We got a payroll. We got overhead. Twilio is a software we use to communicate with all of our thousands of clients to pick up our business for the upcoming month.
Right.
Twilio goes down for 3 weeks. 3 weeks, guys.
Ouch.
Couldn't communicate with our clients for 3 weeks. What happens? We lose $70,000 one month. So I look at that, I go, dude, vending machines, good idea. A vending machine's a good idea. That doesn't require a payroll, right? That doesn't require insurance, like workman's comp and this, that, and the other. So there's some significant risk involved in those. Same thing with the Plant Guy. Okay. The Plant Guy is a company that I've talked about this guy on stage. He's come on my stage at Squat Up Summit, and his name's Matthew Lang. Matthew Lang, June 10th of last summer, says, I get on the phone with him and he introduces me. I get introduced to him from Dan Fleischman, and he goes, I'm going to kill myself tomorrow. I'm literally going to buy a gun. I'm killing myself. I've been 8 years of not knowing where my money is, what's going on. I'm so far behind. I'm taking jobs right now in my company 8-9 months in advance to pay my payroll today. And then next week, I have no idea how I'm going to cover the cost of the job I took money on 8 months ago. It's bad. I haven't paid the IRS in 2 years. I haven't done this in blah, blah, blah. I'm in such a bad situation. All I am is a good visionary. I can see what the product's going to be and all that kind of stuff. And you look at his Instagram, you're like, he's hanging out with Rick Ross every day and Mariah Carey every day. He's on HGTV every day. It looks nice and shiny. So I go and I bring that company to Cody Barton, one of my other partners. And I said, Cody, let's buy this company. So we took over 50% of the business. We worked with the IRS, all the state taxes. We fixed everything, got everything back up and going. It's now making 30 grand. It's not losing 150 grand a month. It's now making 30 or 40 grand a month after all expenses. Accounting's done right. Everybody, it took a year. It took a year to do all of this. Okay. And then what happens is our number one sales guy, who brings in like $300,000 a month in sales, quits and goes and works for somebody else. And we lose, and he has all the contacts, all the relationships, all the things. That's overnight.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, Pace, why weren't you aware of that? Dude, we thought he was happy. Like, I don't know what to tell you. It's obviously a blind spot. Do you walk into your company every single day and go, all right, who's thinking about quitting today? Anybody in here, like you, that's not how this works. And so when people are like, dude, I love being here. Thank you so much. And they're so helpful. So this, so that, and they're putting on this mask. And the next day they go, hey, I'm taking another job. Today's my last day. So buying businesses is so much more than just buying a business and letting it work. However, if you go to like vending machine, laundromat, car wash, some of those things that don't require employees. Yeah. And I think that's a really good place for people to start. It's kind of like, just get one rental.
Exactly. That's what I'm thinking. 10 vending machines in Henderson/Vegas is where I think I'm going to
Where would you put these vending machines?
I'm going to be paying a service that they put them, and they guarantee a certain amount of transactions.
What?
They call them vends, number of vends a month. And if it doesn't work, they move them.
That's sick. Oh, this is a franchise.
It's a franchise. Yeah.
Okay. I'm such a big fan of franchises for people that are brand new. So if you guys are looking to buy a business, like did you know how I got started in real estate? I bought a franchise.
Right. Yeah. I remember. Yeah.
I bought a Home Investors franchise for $135,000, and I bought it for no money down, no interest. I just had to pay her out of my future wholesaling deals.
Right.
And luckily she stuck with me as I went through the thing. But man, having the franchise as an anchor for the first, as my accountability group for the first 2 years, and having a structure and a system and a process and all these things to follow, and obviously don't do that, was more important than do that. All the no's and why I shouldn't have been doing this or that or whatever was more important. The franchise model is great. How much is it going to cost to buy 10 vending machines?
I think it's 120, 125 grand. And
10.
then of course, yeah, for 10, you get a small business loan, you bring in 10%, then because they're vending, you could depreciate them all up front.
Okay, so you buy $120,000 of the vending machines, you get 10 of them. What's the like expected net income on 10 of them? Like low
$750 per machine
a month.
a month. Yeah.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah. We'll see if it, well, I'm in investigation mode, but yeah, we'll see if it
You're
comes to
joking me.
No, of course I would.
Okay, so who fills the vending machines?
I will be hiring a 1099 for that for sure.
Okay,
I'll
got
be
it.
paying
So it's
out of those-
750 before the
before,
1099?
Yeah, before the payment. Yeah. Most people
Okay.
do it themselves. I'm not doing it.
No.
I'll be paying
Okay, so
somebody.
you'll be, if you have 10 of them, you're bringing in let's say you're bringing in $7,500 a month roughly on the low
Roughly.
end.
Sure.
You're paying a 1099 person probably 1 day a week to go and do the thing.
That's what they're saying. Yeah.
So you're probably spending, let's say on the high end, probably $2,000 a month high end.
Yeah.
Right. You'll have one guy plus a backup maybe. Or if you were really smart, which you are, you might even go, I'm going to hire a full-time person to do other things in my business, like a video editor.
Right.
If you hire a video editor and you go, all right, video editor, you're going to video edit 4 days a week. And then 1 day a week, you're doing vending machines. Maybe you like dual purpose the thing.
Well, if we do it, we'll just create a series on my channel called The Vending, and we'll just make it part of the platform. Oh, how many we get this day? How many we do that? I mean, you just more content created, and yeah, just roll with that.
Yeah, it's interesting. SubTo Shanna, she says, she says, be careful with shiny object syndrome. It's real.
Yeah.
Yes, but here's the reality. You have to put your money somewhere, and you can, at some point, I'll be honest with you guys, you'll realize that real estate is the most guaranteed investment that I've ever found, but it's not the one that makes the most money. When you get into a point where you have capital, you start seeing opportunities. You go, okay, cool. My cash on cash return might be 25, 30% on some of these SubTo deals. And maybe it's 12% on some Burr deals. Maybe it's 40% on this. I invested into somebody else's fund. I'm getting 14%, whatever. But then you go, if I buy $120,000 of vending machines and I get a $75,000 return, $80,000 return, I just got like a 70% cash on cash return. Yeah, I'm going to go after that.
Explore that. We're going to, and plus again, I get the depreciation. That's another thing that makes vending unique for me. Cause you know, I've owned my buildings for a long time. So the depreciation is rolling off.
Where do they tell you where they put the vending machines?
Yes. So I get to select cities.
Okay. You select the city.
And then they tell me when they plan it. Cause they won't guarantee, they promise to deliver the 10 within 6 months of me signing the contract. And I don't pay until it's, until the vending machine is planted.
Dude, that's great.
Yeah. We're in investigation mode right now.
What, besides that, what else are you looking at?
That's the one that's, again, I very much kind of, training wheels. I want something without people. That's really why my brand One Rental at a Time hasn't popped off, because I have no 1099s. I've got no employees. I don't want employees. So that's why vending was so attractive to me.
Yeah. You're at a point you're at a phase where you don't need, I'm playing catch up.
No, that's not true.
I am. So 6 years ago, I had nothing. I had a guy file bankruptcy on me. I lost everything. I sold sold 43 rentals in my personal house. I had nothing. My daughter Corbin was born September 21st, 2018. That day, I got a letter in the mail that was a bankruptcy letter. I had to start from scratch. And so I went off like a crazy badger with vengeance of like, I'm going to play catch up. And I don't think I ever slowed down. I think I've only sped up. And so
I think so too. Yeah.
I've gotten used to the speed, but the reality is I'm basically trying to catch up to people like yourself that have already like found this equilibrium in their life of like, now I'm just having fun. Now I'm just doing the thing and I don't need employees. So one day I hope to be in your shoes.
Well, I can tell you it's worth it. I mean, again, you're not going to grow as fast. You're not going to be as impactful, but that's not my mission, right? My mission, I think I've told you privately, is I'm trying to create something, AKA one rental at a time, that outlives me by 50 years, right? My physical body will die, hopefully decades from now. But if people are still saying Michael Zuber or one rental at a time, 50 years after that, that's what I do every day. That's all I think about. I don't think about funnels and this and that. I don't maximize dollars. I don't have high price anything. It's like, nope, I'm just, one more day of helping people. It's a nice
I love
place
that.
to be.
I love it. I think the world of what success looks like has really, really changed. And more people, I mean, look at what COVID did. You see what people are doing. They're leaving the big cities. They're going out into the rural areas. They're trying to slow down life. The whole chickens and goats thing has really popped off in the last 10, 15 years. People are like, I'm just going to slow down. And that's where we're at. I think if I didn't have so much momentum with what I'm doing already and, the TV show and the other things that we have going on, if you removed some of those things that already been built in with like 6-year contracts and stuff, I would definitely be in a situation of like, I'm going to take 5 days off a week and put 2 days of work in. That's it. But I'm balancing all these things that I'm having fun with. That's the thing, is that none of the stuff I'm doing is not fun. But there is a point where I go, do I want 600 employees? I don't know. That's another tough thing too, because for the people on the other side, this goes back to know thyself. I get a girl named Shelly. She's one of my transaction coordinators. We do enough deals. I got 4 transaction coordinators full-time on my team. And we hire this girl named Shelly Hire, H-I-E-R. We hire her last summer. And for Christmas last year, she sends me this long text message, probably the full paragraph. And she says, when you hired me, I thought my value was being a lunch lady. I thought my highest and best value was being a lunch lady. My husband wasn't making money that he needed, and we were getting hit with inflation. And so I decided I had to go back to work. And I was offered this job. Some random person brought this opportunity to me, and you have changed my entire life. I now have self-esteem where I never had. I have value. I understand real estate. I now have done 2 deals on my own. And it's crazy, but like that heroin that you get from that feeling of, oh my gosh, I facilitated that.
It's amazing.
And for her to be able to have that financial independence of like, I'm not a lunch lady. She's actually looked at as one of the great transaction coordinators in our community in just a year and a half, from going from, I'm going to flop out some sloppy Joe stuff on somebody's hamburger. Nothing against lunch ladies, but they're not watching my channel. But she's like, my highest and best use in my mind, my self-esteem told me I should be a lunch lady because that's the only value I brought to the world.
You got to get in the right rooms, get around the right people.
You do. And so when you can do that, you can create impact through multiple different ways. You can create impact by,
of course,
building a community, helping individuals. Last night or yesterday, I spoke at our local RIA. I've been on this tear of like, I want to do some big, long classes with people, record them, and then make it so when people ask me a question about how do I raise money, go, here's a 50-hour course on a chronological step-by-step way to go and raise capital. I've already built like 20 hours of that 50-hour course. I'm just going to give it away for free. And so I was on this tear yesterday. I did 4 hours of it. And this lady, her name is Krista, but she goes by Chris. She is really small. She's kind of meek. We had about 300 people in the room, and she's way back there in the side. And, I noticed these types of things. And I went up to her afterwards, and I noticed she had 2 canes. And I noticed that her feet were pointed 2 different directions, and she could barely use her hands. And then I was, after I finished speaking, everybody comes up, they want a photo, all that kind of stuff. And that's cool. I love that so much. I love meeting people face to face and all of that. And I go out in the parking lot to go get to my car, and Chris is still trying to get into her car. Why? Because she has a whole system to get into her car, because she's driving herself, and she's got this car that like adapts to her ability, to her physical abilities. And I go up to her, I'm like, oh my gosh, thank you so much for coming. Like, she goes, Pace, I want to let you know, I have not left my house in 90 days. And I was getting so depressed and so this and so that. She's like, this whole day breathed so much life into me. I need to be coming to these more often. And I know you get this too, right?
Oh, yeah.
Whether it's somebody who's handicapped or not handicapped or disabled, you get this too. And so it's really hard on somebody who wants to be a giver to go, I want to play a little bit more quiet. I want to be a little bit more quiet. And so for me, when you get somebody that her name is Chris, and she can physically barely get out of her car to come and see a thing that you're doing, and you get 10 people on your YouTube that make a bad comment, bro, nothing can outshine how powerful this thing is. And so that's why I don't stop. It's really hard for me to stop. Maybe it's ego. I don't know. But whatever it is, I really enjoy it. And
it's why I show up every day, is that person. The stories are different, but when you can impact someone's life, and now I'm sure you get this all the time. We're impacting generations. Kids of people we've helped, we're helping now. And that's how you build something that outlives you by 50 years. You have to keep showing up. You have to keep inspiring. You have to keep doing the work. You can't trail off and get into negativity. It's hard. It's supposed to be hard, right? You talked earlier about, do you want somebody, I think you said it was Hormozy. If we were going to build the world's strongest human, do we want it to be easy or hard?
Hard.
It's hard. It's worth it.
Yeah. And, going back to one of the things I get, people criticize me because they go, you make things look so easy.
Yeah, I bet you do. Yes. Yeah.
And you get haters that say that stuff and they go, what do you like? Not everybody can be you. And I go, yeah, you're right. So maybe we should tell everybody that was inspired to play more basketball that Michael Jordan is an idiot and he should have never even tried, because he just makes it look too easy. Or you look at the fact that it inspires a whole new generation of people to go, I'd like to be a portion of that. I know I can't be Michael Jordan, but I know I can bring something to the game. Look at Allen Iverson.
Yeah. Well, let's bring it to recent. One of the things because both of us I had season tickets to the Warriors when we lived in California. So you could call me a fan. But one of the things about Steph Curry is he changed the game. I mean, if you go watch a high school game or 8, 9-year-olds, they're all jacking up threes now.
Yeah, from 8 feet behind the freaking line.
Yeah, exactly. They get the half court and throwing it up there already. But where I'm going with this is, for the longest time, LeBron James was the guy of this generation. But you know what? You're not, 6, whatever he is, 6'8", 240, and can jump out of the gym. So it was always easy to say, yeah, he's special. But Steph Curry's a little guy. He's like 6'2" on a good day, right? And he just worked his ass off with his handle and his shots, and I think Steph Curry is a great example of everybody to me, whether you like this compliment or not, it's meant as a compliment. You're Steph Curry. You just make it look easy. You can dribble the ball with both hands. You're juggling and dribbling. You shoot over 2 guys from France when you got Kevin Durant and LeBron James wide freaking open and make it. You do make it look easy. But what you said earlier is you have the freaking reps, right? Go back and watch the 12,000 videos or whatever it is. That's what people don't get about Steph, is when you're a season ticket holder, you can go watch practices. He's there before anybody, and he's always the last one to leave. Yeah. He has the reps. That's why you can make it look easy. So
and look at Tiger Woods too. Okay. This goes into real estate. That's
a good point. Yeah.
Tiger Woods changed the game of golf by a 4x margin in his first year, which means the average purse that a golfer could win at the time was like $100,000 to $200,000. Then he comes in the game, sponsors start flooding in because more people want to play the game. He made it look fun. He made the game look fun.
And it's golf, people. It's golf. He made golf look fun.
He made golf look fun. And it is. I've gone and flown to the Masters just to see Tiger at the Masters, because it's a thing to behold, right? So Tiger brought the average purse from $200,000 tournament to now it's a little over $1.5 million. So think about that. Yeah, of course, take inflation into consideration. But the average golfer was making $500,000 to $1 million a year. Now the average golfer is making 15 to 20 million. Why is that? They call it the Tiger effect. You guys can Google this. It's actually a thing, the Tiger effect. Here's what's cool about people that come into the industry: a Brandon Turner, a Michael Zuber, a Jamil Damji, Brent Daniels, Jerry Norton. Some of these people that come into the industry and they make it look more fun. Here's what happens. More people come into the industry.
Yep.
And we are so blessed that is not competition. Why? Because right now, guys, like I did the research this morning. 1.7 people are currently in active foreclosure right now. It's not until we have 0 people in active foreclosure that this thing is too overran. Also, days on market are at a very high number right now. So agents are struggling and they need people to come in and offer lower prices to make these deals work. There is so much room for so many people. And what happens is more software companies come in, more opportunities, better title companies. The whole entire industry is benefited because people like a Tiger Woods comes into the industry and changes it from sponsorships to opportunities to all sorts of things. And so again, I don't hate on a guru ever. Okay. I've met a lot of gurus. I paid a lot of gurus. I look at them. I've never once been like, wow, you make it too easy. I go, thank you for cutting down the pathway so I can walk through the jungle twice as fast. And so you'll get people that that do this. Like I was on a Zoom this morning at 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. And my kids were sitting in my lap the whole time.
That's awesome.
And so people are like, oh, when do you spend time with your family? 8 hours a day? Like I balance my life properly. Anyway, my point is this. I don't let people bother me that are bothered by me, right? Because hurt people hurt people. And so what I realize is when people want to take a shot at me or people want to take a shot at you, they are threatened by you. I don't want to look in the mirror and go, am I really threatened by people? I was with Glenn Stearns, the undercover billionaire, the original undercover billionaire a couple of weeks ago at his home. And I was talking about his origin story. And I said, how do you deal with imposter syndrome? How do you deal with, I don't deserve to be in this room? How did you break through that? Like when did you become comfortable with it? And he goes, is that, I didn't know that was an option. I was like, what, bro, you're worth $5 billion. You're worth $5 billion. Yeah. Wesley Pipes, he was on the Zoom this morning. He said, Corbin was so stinking cute this morning. So so I go into this conversation deeper and he says to me, I told this to Wesley actually this morning, the story, but a little bit longer, it was a 30-minute story. And Glenn says, Pace, let me ask you a question. Is that a problem that is a human problem or is that a Pace Morby problem? I go, what do you mean? He goes, imposter syndrome. Is that a unique to you problem or is that a human problem? I go, I think it's a human problem because like everybody deals with it. He goes, do you want to live your whole life living human problems and solving human problems, or do you want to solve Pace's problems? I was like, gosh damn. And this is what he says. He goes, you've seen other human beings, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, bro, that's all I needed to hear. That's all I needed to hear. I needed this guy to say exactly that thing. Now, if some freaking loser on YouTube told me about imposter syndrome and how to get a hold of it or get over it, it wouldn't have worked. I needed somebody that had blazed down the path and had done the thing. So I knew that person knew what he was talking about. So when he yelled back down the pathway and said, hey, imposter syndrome's bullshit.
Right.
I knew he wasn't lying because he made it to the high echelon. Right. So for those of you guys out there, be very careful of who you're taking advice from. Okay. And when you see people taking shots at other people, especially, not to bring this up again, because I don't want to give attention to the thing, but when I went back and watched the thing that you sent me a text about with the guy taking a shot at you, I was like, wow, my first thought was good job. My first thought, I should have texted you. I should have said, good job, bro. Yeah. Because that means you are coming up in the ranks and you are providing so much value to the industry that the industry is coming to you. And when the industry is coming to you, you can either do what you and I do, or there's a cross promotion and a collaboration, which is the way it should be. And I've got people in your world and you've got people in my world, right? Our community intersects. Okay.
For sure.
And when I see this other guy, he has a whole, his podcast that he's starting is all about how he wants to tear into other people in the industry. Do you know about this?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And he brags. Okay. And he brags about, oh yeah, I'm going to call these people out and this out there. And I'm like, okay, I wish I could tell you you're doing this all wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Because here's what he's doing. Instead of going to you and saying, hey, Michael, I think what you do is freaking awesome. And even though it's not exactly what I do, I admire your castle. I admire the empire you've built. I admire the blood, sweat, and tears you've put in all those bricks that you've stacked brick by brick by brick. Can you show me how you built those bricks? And can we collaborate? And in my process of finding out how to do my own thing, I can share some insight with you and can elevate your castle. Would you be willing to do that? That's the appropriate way to win. Okay. That's how you and I have always been for the last 6 years, right? Whatever Correct. It's been that I've known you, about 6 years. So I look at it and I go, what he's doing is he's trying to sneak around your castle and pull your bricks out of your castle. Not because he's trying to attack you. It's because he's jealous of what you've built. Otherwise, why steal your bricks?
Yeah, here's the other thing, because again, I've been in this game a long time, and what this individual is doing is his community. He doesn't even know this. He is going to create a community of haters.
Your
And
vibe attracts your tribe. You're going to attract the biggest
exactly,
hateful people in the industry.
exactly. And then he's going to get stuck in the YouTube algorithm, and that's all he's going to see. And oh, by the way, this individual says he only does a YouTube channel to do business. Do you think a community of haters and broke people are going to take out loans? You idiot. You're doing it the wrong way.
Oh, bro, it's sad. And, looking at where he lost his job and, some of the follow-ups, I like him and I respect him a lot. And I think that he's going to come to a realization. And here's how I've always treated him. My door is always open for collaboration. But I will not collaborate with a few different people. I will not collaborate with men who cheat on their wives. That's just something for me. I've seen what happens with people that hang out with men that are cheaters. Like I had a group of friends that were like, it's like if you have one friend that's an alcoholic and you just go, well, he's my friend, he's my friend, he's my friend. Chances are at some point, something's going to happen in your life. You're going to be putting yourself in situations you don't even want to be in.
Correct.
Going back to your buy box. My personal buy box is I can't even be around people like that would be willing to put me in a situation that I have to say no to. Of course I'm going to say no, but the fact that you have to put me in a situation I got to say no means we can't be friends, right? So it's people that are cheaters and people that are haters. And so again, I look at the logistics of it and I go, I want to grow as an individual and I want to grow with other people that want to grow as well. And I think what's going to happen is he's going to take bricks out of your castle. He's going to take bricks out of my castle. He's going to take.
Well, here's the deal. He's going to attempt to take he can't take bricks from my castle. I won't let him. Our communities are so loyal. I mean, that's what you get by growing slow. By growing slow and on purpose and showing up every day the same way. He could touch my bricks, but he ain't going to take shit.
Yeah.
He's going to try. He's going to be envious, and he's going to build a little castle with crappy bricks of his own that are going to collapse and kill him. It's going to be.
It would be amazing if there was a collective website somewhere. There was like the Real Estate Collective. And it was like anybody that had a real estate podcast or anybody had a real estate YouTube video or channel or whatever, anybody that was out there trying to share information for free, right? And there was a way that we could all collaborate with and help each other out and say, oh yeah, hey, that guy, he, you know what? I'm doing creative finance, but that guy's doing creative finance in Missouri. I don't know how to do creative finance in Missouri. Like, you know what I'm saying? So yeah. There's collaboration even when there's overlap. And the problem is people go, instead of me providing more value, the only way to get attention is to attack people who currently provide more value than me. And that is a sad and horrible recipe for disaster. And your vibe attracts your tribe. So if you're hateful and you attack people, you will attract those exact same people. And like you said, they don't spend money.
It's not going to end well. It's not going to end well. Well, the last thing I knew I wanted to ask you about is you are not only a YouTube star, but you are a TV star and a published author. Let's talk about being a TV star. Are you filming season 3 right now? Is that what's going on?
A&E ordered 30 episodes in January of our of Triple Digit Flip. So what they do is they sign you into a big long contract, right? So you get in. We got into a contract in 2021. I got into a contract 2020-ish, right in that like. It was after COVID. It was like going into 2021. And we get into a 6-year contract. We start filming season 1 and 2. And what we learned from A&E and filming is that they don't like children. And I will say this on a public forum. A&E likes children, but what happened? I didn't know anything about the TV world. A&E does not produce television. Okay. Most of these TV people, Netflix does not produce television. They hire, even when it's like Netflix original, HBO original, they do not produce any of their own content. What they do is they go buy TV rights from people who did produce it. And what they do, it's so interesting. So it's like a disconnect. So they have there's no legal ramifications, right? So the people who actually ran my show was a production company that A&E bought the stuff from, right? So my paycheck comes from A&E. I go to the A&E headquarters and I talk to A&E, but my technical boss was actually a production company. Now, ironically, the production company is also owned by A&E. It's a way for them to disconnect themselves from the liability.
Got it.
Okay, cool. So the people traditionally that do television, what they do is they don't live in one place. They travel around from TV show to TV show to TV show. So directors of photography, directors, this, that, and the other. There's 30 people on set on a TV show.
Oh, wow.
I didn't know one person that had a kid. Why? Because their life is not conducive for that. Right. So when we bring our kids on, my wife is pregnant and we've got a kid that's squawking or doing whatever, and that's a part of our life. They really hated that because it slows down the production. And so when they're on their speed and they get paid based on the deliverables. And so I realized that in season 2, I was like, man, this is not fun. And we really want to have more children. So Corbin at the time was 2. Monday wasn't even a thought process yet. She gets pregnant in season 2. We have her going into filming season 3. And we go, you know what? This is 2023, beginning of 2023. We go, we'd like to take a year off. My wife and I really want to focus on our babies. And so I took a whole year off of filming. 2024, January of this year, they go, all right, we're back. We're going to order 30 episodes. I go, perfect. We don't want to talk about fix and flip anymore. And they go, what? I go, yeah, it doesn't impact. It doesn't impact anybody. And I only fix and flip like 3 houses a year. And it's kind of out of necessity. I buy a deal. I end up not wanting it. And I decide I don't want it in my portfolio. I'll renovate it, put it on the market. It's more out of necessity. I'm more of a buy and holder. And I go, but I do have a really good idea for a TV show. And so this idea for the TV show came from spending time with the Attorney General of Utah, Sean Reyes, a good friend of mine. So Sean Reyes and I are hanging out. We're up in Utah. And I go, hey, I have this idea where I go interview like 200 people that are unhoused. And I find people that are not having drug addiction problems because I don't know that I have enough time to unrattle that problem. That's a deeper problem that I think I'm not suited for. I've never done drugs, so who the hell am I? But I want to find the people who are like Walmart greeters. They work at Target. They make money, but they sleep in their car because they can't afford to live. And I want to go do 30 days where I partner up with 12 people who are unhoused, sleeping in their cars. And I want to partner with them and show them how to go and make 20 grand, 30 grand a month as a wholesaler or finding these deals. And Sean Reyes, the Attorney General, is like, I want to help. I want to help you set up those interviews. I want to highlight Utah. Let's do Utah as the first thing. So I go pitch this to A&E, and A&E's like, we freaking love this. This is everything. This is amazing. And then I go, but you guys don't like kids. And I got a brand new baby that's 9 months old. I go, nope. So what we did is we went and found the person, the number one TV producer for HGTV. And we went to him, and his name is Eric. And we said, hey, Eric, here's who we are. This is our pedigree. He goes, oh, I know who you guys are. I want to do a show with you. Flies out. We spend a month with him. We start crafting a TV show. And so we are currently working on a completely different TV show to be put on. I don't want to go on HGTV or A&E. I want to go on Netflix or something that actually has wider distribution. And so we're going to go self-produce. So I've got like Kajabi, Trainual, and a couple of other companies that have all said, we'll pay for the production. We'll put in $500,000 for the production. And me and Jamil are going to go help 12 people get off the streets in 30 days and turn that into a whole entire TV show. And then we're going to sell that season off.
Fun.
And see what happens with it. And then what we'll do is we'll elevate the stakes every year of like, all right, let's go to a different country and see if we can invest in real estate in the United States, and we'll just elevate it. So right now we're pre-production for a TV show that should start filming in February.
So is that something, again, you're close with Grant Cardone. Didn't Grant Cardone self-produce 3 or 4 different shows that he's either has sold or is selling to other places?
Yeah, it's interesting. So he went on Discovery Network and then they fired him. He's really hard to work with. He was on our TV show. He's really hard to work with. He comes on the set, doesn't want to listen to anybody says. He's got 85 things going through his brain. So he comes on, he goes, what do you want me to say? He goes on, does the thing. I'm like, Grant, this takes like 4 hours to like deliver 3 lines. He's like, watch me deliver the lines right now. I'm going to leave and you're going to figure it out. And sure enough, he's right. Actually, the people want everything to look so perfect. So it takes so much time to deliver this like really small snippet. He comes on the set, pisses everybody off. And so I found through talking to him and Jared that Discovery Channel actually canceled the show in the middle of the season. Nobody ever finished Grant's episode. It was never delivered.
Oh, wow.
So what he did is he goes, F this, I'll self-produce it and finish it myself. And so he went and finished it himself and spent the money. And he goes, man, these TV people are really stupid. And he's right. I mean, half of A&E got laid off this year. Like the TV world is getting beat to piss. So he goes out and he goes, I'm going to start my own production studio. And I'm like, yeah, the problem is the distribution is not really that big. It's not like YouTube has the largest distribution of every medium. Like, why not just get better at YouTube delivery? Right. Well, he goes and starts 10X Studios. He starts building it, and then he goes, crap. And he sends me a text. Hey, can you give me any connections at A&E? Because I need some help. Right. So 2 years ago, I connect him and Brad at the time. Brad was like our head executive at A&E. And they went off and started producing stuff together, and they're currently producing stuff for A&E. So he tried to do his own production studio thing. I think it's so much harder than people think it is. And so he collaborated with A&E to start delivering things. But for me, like, honestly, if you told me I'd have to quit my YouTube channel to focus on TV, bro, all day long, I'm doing YouTube. Like I'll give you the only reason why you do TV is this: to tell people you're on TV. I mean, legit. It was, I told Jamil, because Jamil, he grew up in LA and he was a stand-up comedian for Funny or Die. I don't know if you knew this. And so Jamil is like, I want to be in a TV show. And I go, I don't. But what I do want to do is tell people I do have a TV show, and I want to be able to cancel the TV show on my own terms. So I'm letting you know I will do this TV show only if we can cancel when I want to cancel. And Jamil's like, I'm with you. Let's do it. And so in January, I wrote them this nice email. It's the greatest email I think I've ever written, which was, we hereby decline your 30 episodes of national TV syndicated TV show. It was a good feeling to have. But here's the thing. When I go on stage, people go, and the star of Triple Digit Flip on A&E is Pace Morby, right? And it just has a different call to it than he's the SubTo guy. So it was a long-term marketing play. I also learned the game of TV, and I go, oh, this is easy. We can self-produce this stuff. It actually is easy, but you have to have a really good topic. Then you sell the rights to the TV show to somebody else, and you let them make all the money is the hack. The problem with Grant's like, I want to make money. And for me, I just want the distribution and the eyeballs, right? What I want to do is my next goal is to be Ken McElroy. Okay.
That's a good goal.
Yeah. Ken's one of my good friends. I love him. He's years and years ahead of me in experience and expertise. And I learned all his delegation and team structures and how he doing his fun. He's my mentor currently. He's like my real estate mentor.
Yeah. And again, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Ken is kind of a combination of us. Not talking about portfolio size, but he seems to work a lot less than you. He's very dialed in, very delegation.
Yep.
He's
maybe
a couple of days a week kind of thing.
Yeah. He's 1 day a week. Tuesday goes in for 90 minutes, runs his entire operation.
That's what I mean. He's figured
and so
that out.
He's sat down with me. We've had great conversations, and he is my mentor, like actual hired mentor. And we started out as friends, and I go, I need to take this deeper. Like, can I ask you for advice? Can I do all this stuff? Can I come up to your office, see how your office is outlaid? What does this look like? Can I have my partner, Josiah, who runs our fund? Can I have him call your team, et cetera? Can you open up the doors for me? No, I'm not going to steal from you, and just know I need to learn from somebody that's way smarter than me and is in the position I want to be in.
Right.
And the first thing I learned was, yeah, but I'm not really at my office much. I work maybe 90 minutes a week.
That's the kind of lazy I can get behind.
Yeah. And he's worth a couple $1 billion. Right. So it's a different world. They've got 10,000 apartments. And when you talk
he's active again. Sorry. He's active. He's buying.
Yeah. He wants to buy another 10,000 units in the next 8 to 10 years. And so that's another, several $1 billion in real estate. So you look at this and you go, all right, why are you doing this? And I need to know that answer from people that are doing the thing, because you can't remove the engine from my race car. I'm going to have this engine for the rest of my life. I just am who I am. And so
no doubt.
I have to go and talk to the race car that has a similar engine. And I go, why do you keep doing the laps? Why are you still doing this?
Mm-hmm.
And he says, well, he walks me over to this department. I'm telling you guys, Ken McElroy is by far the most legitimate person you will ever see on YouTube. He is everything you think he is and more. He is unbelievable. And I go over to this department. On the door, there's a job title, and the job title is her job title is, what do they do? When you're giving things, you philanthropist. Okay. Her head of philanthropy is her job.
Wow. That's a job title.
Her job is to give away $1
Money.
million a month.
Go Ken.
He's a gangster. He's giving, dude, he has a full department dedicated to this, giving. He is giving in such an organized way that he knows where it's going, why it's going. He can measure the impact and know that he's not wasting a dollar. He is so freaking good. And so I go, I'm giving a lot, but I'm giving in a very different way. And I need to step up my game and be more efficient. And so he also, the first time, last thing I'll say, I know we're 3 minutes late, but where I met Ken, I would been trying to be friends with Ken for a long time. And I would get into rooms where he was, and I would get into rooms where he was. And one day I get invited by Gary Brecka. I get invited to a dinner, and Gary Brecka goes, "Hey, we're doing a dinner and da, 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 and so is going to be there. And so is going to be there." And he goes, "Oh, and this guy named Ken McElroy, I go, "Ken McElroy?" He goes, "Wow, the one guy I don't even know who he is the guy you're excited about?" I go, "Yes, he's the guy I want to meet." So I go to the dinner, and everybody orders drinks, like a little private plate area in like Nobu. It's like in the back, like, whatever. Order drinks. Everybody gets up. Now we're waiting for food, and everybody's kind of working around the room. And I go right over to Ken. I wait in line. There's another friend of his, and I wait. And I go, "Ken, you're the guy I came here to meet." We get into a conversation. He immediately gets into like personal stuff. And he goes, "Well, I went through a divorce and I went this and da, 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 da." My first question to him was this: Ken, you're 44 years older than me. I'm sorry. You're 24 years older than me. You can come back to my age right now. What are you telling me? And he says, family, family, family. I go, "What do you mean by that? Get specific. Tell me specifically, because I feel like I'm pretty good." And he starts telling me he goes, "Tell me the situation. What's going on in your life? This, that, and the other." And he tells me why he ended up getting a divorce. We get into this personal thing, and why he goes, "I got divorced because I was not there. I was building this thing and I wasn't balancing it properly. And my wife began to resent me, and I this, that, and the other, and blah, 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 blah." And he goes, "Whatever you have going on in your life," he goes, "I almost didn't even come here, to be honest. But I came here because it was so close to my house and blah, 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 blah. I don't do this stuff."
Right.
And he goes, "What's going on in your life?" And I go, "Well, my wife is pregnant." He goes, "When is she due?" I go, "Tomorrow."
Oops.
And he goes, "Why are you here?" And I go, "Because my wife gets it. She gets the game." And he goes, "No, she doesn't." And so everybody sits down to dinner. Gary looks around. He's looking for me. Where's Pace? And he goes to Ken. He goes, "Hey, you were the last one talking to Pace. Is he coming back?" And Ken goes, "Nope. I sent him home." And I was like, what a great man. And look, I balance really well, but Ken has really helped me balance a lot more. And it's hard for me to listen to like my dad, right? My dad is opposite balanced. My dad is like chill mode all the time, not video games, football game, barbecue, swimming, football game. Ken is like impact, family, impact, right? And so I needed to learn. I needed a new father figure in my life. And Ken he's that beacon for me. He's that pot of gold. Will I ever reach it? I don't know, but I like the direction.
I like your chances. I
like my chances. So again, proximity, being part of a community, getting around accountability partners is everything. It sounds so stupid and cliche from a blue collar guy and maybe a software engineer at heart. When somebody told you that first, you're like, yeah, you're full of shit.
Yeah, well, no doubt. No.
Now it's everything.
Everything. That's where it starts. Absolutely. Well, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this. Again, I've taken lots of notes, things that I wrote down. Again, block out the noise, be blind to it. Board of directors. That's something I've definitely got to think about. Know thyself even before buy box. Get started quick, not get rich quick. And again, if you're not following Ken McElroy, I don't know what you're doing. Pace, you're amazing. Closing thoughts, and we'll let you go.
Look, I just love this industry so much. It changed my life, and there's so many ways to win. And so when you guys are out there, the hardest thing about real estate is there's so many ways to make money. And I would go back, and if you just tuned in, okay, you just tuned in, you have to ask yourself, do I know myself? Do I know my skills? Do I know my relationship with myself? There's personality tests that you can take that can help you out with that. There's a girl named Rosie Noel on Instagram. Look her up, Rosie Noel. In fact, you should bring her into your community, Zuber. I'll introduce her to you.
Thank you.
She helps people identify themselves and what path they are, their risk tolerances, and what they're good at and what they're not good at, personality types. You're going to show up this way in a big room. You're going to show up this way in a small room. If you don't know those things about yourself, you're going to have a hard time picking a path, and you're going to continue to have shiny object syndrome. Should I be a this? Should I be a that? And the chances are, even though those are all successful ways to win, the chances are you're going to fail at all of them because you didn't find the right thing for you. So know thyself first and foremost. And at the end of the day, wholesaling is just a practice for the big leagues. You got to be buying and holding. Financial freedom doesn't come from having another job. And so those wholesalers out there, I just want to let you guys know, the number one question I get about wholesale is, how do I get in? The number two question I get is, how do I get out? And so you got to start buying and holding. You got to start building that portfolio and have that patience, water that seed. And Michael Zuber, I've always admired you, always looked up to you. When I first met you in Fresno, was it Fresno?
Yeah. Yep.
I first met you in Fresno, and you opened your office to me, and we were just two hoodlums running around the country and hanging out with people. You treated me like a son. You treated me like a friend. You always have. I appreciate you. I will always have your back. I will always compliment you, because look at the work you're doing, bro. Building a legacy, helping people. Thousands of people are being impacted by your domino effect. Super proud to call you a friend and look up to you every single day. Thank you so much.
Pace, right back at you again. You are one of those guys I look to, admire, inspiration. I always ask myself, what would Pace do? So again, it's fun to watch you just dominate. I love that you're connected to Ken. I think Ken is going to be such a bright light for you and a great North Star. I love the fact that he kicked your ass to the curb and said, go home and be with your wife. Laura, she's amazing. Shout out Laura and the whole family. All right. Take care, everyone. Peace.
Later, guys.